JQ's late. I'm not surprised. He does it to me all the time. Been sitting there for an hour waiting for him. Ready, just like this. He's late. He said he was going to do it at this time. He wasn't here at this time. It's not her. Late. I don't know. I was going to drop that intro and start without him. That's all I do. I can't wait for him no more. Anyway, you know what? Time to drop that intro.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this money-grabbing book racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. Yeah.
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
Nnrc, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Leslie the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 219. That's right, 219 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keena White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great, and joining me eventually will be the village idiot himself, my co-host, JQ, a.k.a. Beaker. He hasn't been on since the Christmas show. Going to find out what he's been up to. He's actually going to be on this week and next week as well. So yeah, we got a lot of questions for him. We got a lot to talk about. We also have Matty G on her as well, coming to talk about his 10 scale program and the big race that they had this past weekend that he attended, which was the Clash of Champions. But before we do that, I'd like to say some thank yous and some shout outs to people. First off, I want to say shout out and say thank you to all of the Nnrc squad around the world. Thank you guys for all the love that you showed me guys in 2022. Virtually when we went to races, all that type of stuff. It was a pleasure to meet you. Everyone that I met last year, thank you for all the support. Thank you to everybody that's rocking out some Nnrc gear or rocking decals on their cars, man. I love you guys. Thank you for all the support. We can't do it without you guys. So please keep sharing the podcast. Keep rocking our decals. If you ain't joined our YouTube, join our YouTube, please, because I was looking at the analytics and a lot of people are watching this stuff or liking it and they're not joining the YouTube. So let's bump that up because that's really important to her. I really like it if you guys hit that notification button, that sub button, hit that like or dislike button, leave a comment, get us up into that algorithm. If you listen to us on an audio platform, because I believe we're available on all podcast platforms, leave a review. It helps us a lot. So appreciate that. Thank you for the continued support. Also, if you want to go a little further, you can join the Patreon program. Getting real busy in that, as well as the YouTube membership program. Those funds go to help paying some bills, help, buy my RC stuff around here, and help things keep going here at the Nnrc. And you get early release, Patreon only, and YouTube membership only podcasts and content. Going to be really active in both of those platforms this year. So if you wish to support the Nnrc a little bit more, you can, and I appreciate everybody that does. Also, shout out to our Nnrc Discord, which is going strong. Lots of conversations going on in there as well. If you want to check that out, the link for that is in the written description as well. Also, thank you to these companies that have decided to have sponsored the podcast for the last year. Some of them are still staying on. Some of them haven't. I'm still waiting to hear from them. But if you're a company and you want to be a part of the Nnrc and like what we're doing here at Nnrc, hit me up. We got tiers for everybody. If you got some race promotion, you want to promote your race, we got plans for that as well. Just message me and let's help you make your business better. But thank you to these businesses. They are InvisibleSpeed. Make your speed visible at InvisibleSpeed.net. Our primary sponsor for the second year in a row. Thank you to them. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you to Hitec RC for coming on again for another year, helping me out. They're going into the 50th anniversary. Sunpadal USA. Thank you to Hefty and him, Sunpadal, for being a big part of the podcast this year. TNR Fuels. Thank you to Chris. They got the TNR race coming up next weekend. Thank you to Brent and Lucas and everybody at Beach RC. I'll talk about them in a minute. Techno RC on for another year. Techno is going to be interesting to see what Mayfield does with that Techno buggy. Lugs Racing Tires, thank you to them. Clinic RC, thank you to Tony and Vicky. Appreciate their support as well. Shout out to my boy Ardent Imprints, doing all my my hats and my shirts. If you guys want to get some Nnrc swag in the USA or want to get some embroidery or your printing needs, check out my boy Ardent Imprints on Instagram. Also, the person that's handling the swag over in the UK, Europe, is RC Hoss, Sean Barrowman. Thank you to him. Links for his website where you can order your Nnrc swag are in the written description as well. Shout out to my boy Danny Paz at WRCE. He's going up to help out with the stream at SIC this weekend. Man, Danny is one of the best guys in the industry. He's doing a lot of content, doing a lot of artwork, and he's really good at his streams. If you want him at your if you want to get some work done by Danny, just hit him up. WRCE, he's doing great things, man. RCGP, of course. Shout out to House of RC, Runafalk Race Shop, JTP RC, 36 Mood, which is Robert Badier's brand, and of course the Dr. Alexander Hagberg are our Nnrc drivers. And I want to say shout out to my boy George. I don't know how to say his last name. It's a chorus. I know he's coming up with a podcast with Toby Hampson and a couple other guys from the Northeast race, so that'll be dropping soon. But he sent me a little care package while I was away. He sent me some hats. So he's got a website called offroadracer.com. He's making like branded clothing that you can wear out. So he sent me the shirt. He sent me a blue hat, a gray hat. I'm going to take some pictures. But you can check them out. These shirts are pretty good. He's got one hat that has a nitro engine on it. It's got an e-buggy, another hat. The hats are super comfortable. The shirts are comfortable as well. He'll be adding more stuff. He's got vinyl. He got a tumbler. I left the tumbler at home, but I used it on the shop. I'll be using that tumbler a lot from now on. So check out offroadracer.com. I'll leave a link for that in the written description as well. And thank you to George for sending this out. And I look forward to seeing you guys podcast drop. Yeah. Remember, everybody, showing the sponsor shows the podcast some love. Please, if you can, go use the affiliate links that we have for some of these companies. We have coupon codes that you can save some money. Or if we don't have anything like that, just say, hey, I heard about you on the No Name RC podcast. It really helps us out a lot. And showing the sponsor some love, shows the podcast some love. And if you're a company, you want to help us out, hit me up. We're looking for people for 2023. Like I said, Born a Crime, Matty G, his on her. We geek out over 10 scale for an hour and a half. JQ's coming on to answer your questions and talk a little bit of silly season. I wanted to get his views on some of these silly season moves and what he's got going on. JQ will be back next week as we have a special podcast planned. We have like a Mayako movement meeting. So we're going to have a meeting of all the great minds next week. So that should be great. That's going to be recorded. We're going to have Jared Tebow, David Runafalk, and Robert Badier one with JQ and myself. So tune into that. But real quick, just wanted to shout out to Hoosier Hobbyplex, RC Hobbyplex, man, and Mod Media. They put on a great show at the first annual 2023 Clash of Champions. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched the coverage all weekend. Really enjoyed that. So shout out to them. Great job to them. We talk more about that race as well. And also, just real quick, I was looking at Lance McDonald, his advertising for the Florida RC Championships. Man, I loved it. I know Danny does all that work. Then Lance did a good job at Hoosier as well. And he's headed up to the SIC. So good luck to him and Danny and everybody that is traveling to SIC. If you are traveling to SIC, safe travels to everybody. Have fun. I'll be watching that race as well. And then next week, we have the TNR race, A-Main Challenge, coming out at Thunder Alley, I believe it's being held at. I was talking to Chris Nelson. He was trying to get me out there, but I just don't think I can make it. I have to be home for like the following Tuesday. And I have to be home. And I just don't think I can make it back in time. But hopefully I'll make it to TNR race next year. I would really like to go this year. But lots of giveaways. Everybody's talking about it. I believe Tebow's going, Cavalari's going. There'll be full coverage. So I'll be posting all that stuff on the Nnrc Facebook page. So just pay attention to that. And dude, the racing season has started, and I am so happy. I literally was stuck to my TV watching 10 scale racing all this weekend past. I watched almost every race from Hoosier, and I was doing that because I'm just geeking out over 10 scale, and I wanted to have a good conversation with Matty G. I was glad he come on. I wanted to have Born a Crime on for a while, and he did really well. He's going to be on a lot more as we cover much more 10 scale stuff. I think that's about it, guys. I think JQ's ready to come on. I'm gonna get him on. We're gonna do some questions, find out what's going on with him. Like I said, let's get this podcast started. So, what's up, JQ? How you doing?
All good.
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Happy New Year. This is the first one this year. Yeah. Yes,
we did the Christmas show.
Yeah.
Which I'm still getting people's names together to send out their prizes. This is a tedious task. So don't worry, people. Once I get your name, everybody's names and stuff taken care of, your prizes will then be sent out by the respective companies. I also knew that nothing was going to get done in the first week of January, so I didn't worry about it too much. But yeah, man, we haven't really, how was your Christmas and all that stuff, man? Did you have a good time?
It was okay, but it kind of snuck by somehow. The goal was to take a break, and I haven't managed. I still need to. Before DNC, I somehow still need to disconnect. Like, I wasn't really able to.
Speaking of DNC, that's only 5 weeks away.
Yeah, I know. I need to... Next few days, I need to finish a few things, and then I have to try to take a bit of a break and release or finish that video I'm working on and release it.
Oh, yeah. Can we talk about that? Your retirement video?
We can talk about that after.
Okay. You know what? I just realized it's been like a month since we left South America. It feels like it was so long ago, but it's only been a month. If you really look at the date.
I don't know.
Yeah, it has. It's the 12th. You guys left on the 12th. I left on the 13th.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly a month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. Hey, so did you make any New Year's resolutions?
I wouldn't call them New Year's resolutions, but I made a big one, which is in that retirement video. So when that drops, then you'll understand. Oh, gosh, but that's one that took like 6 to 8 months to make.
Really? I thought you started this the other day.
No, not the video, the fucking decision.
Oh.
You'll see when it's complicated.
Because you was all hot and bothered about this for like a week. And you was like, I'm doing my retirement video. I can't do anything else. Fuck you.
Yeah, I know, but it's I'll get it done. That's why I need to take a bit of a break so I can do it.
Yeah. I had a nice little break. I was actually very eager to get back and start talking about RC. And then this weekend gone, which, by the way, we have your favorite 10 scale Mexican racer on as my co-host and guest this week.
Oh, yeah.
Matty G, aka BOC. Oh, dude, he's going to come on and be my 10 scale guy. He was pretty good.
Is he racing modified now?
Yes, he's racing mod. So, I did relay the message that you said to him at the race.
Yeah.
It looked like it really hurt him.
I think that it was some race at OCRC, and I forget who I was with, but he pitted somewhere next to me or close to me, and then the other guy was on the other side, and he said after the race, like, I can't remember exactly what he said. You could ask him. But something like it was so much fun, or it was just ridiculous to everything that was going on in the pits. So yeah, ever since then, we became friends, and it was fun. So.
Yeah, he was on. Being as there's where I'm geeking out on 10 scale. I get this whole stock thing. You don't anymore. So anyway, you don't, but I get it. He did pretty good, and he's helping me out. He's going to be our 10 scale co-host. And he did pretty good. He did pretty good for his first time.
What is he racing now? Associated?
Yeah, he's running Associated, working with one
One up. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's going to be racing a lot this year too. So, and he almost, you know what? So Fenn dominated this race this past weekend, and in Q2 of four-wheel drive, Matty G was like obliterating his TQ time and then broke. Like seriously, he was leading and then broke all drive or something. It felt so. He was fast in four-wheel drive. He was really good in four-wheel drive. Wasn't so good in two-wheel drive. Well, it was fast in four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's on the podcast this week. We geek out on the Hoosier the Clash of Champions at the Hoosier Rc Hobbyplex. It was a big race. It was great. And the facility is nice. JQ, before we go on, we got a lot of questions. So anyway, I just wanted to tell people. So it's actually scheduled to have you on for an entire whole other podcast this week. And it's should we tell people who it's going to involve?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, so it's going to be obviously it's going to have Jared Tebow, you, myself, Robert Battier, and Ronna Falk. It's actually called 3 World Champions of Village Idiot and Lefty. But we were supposed to record that this week, but those guys got busy. I think Robert's in France.
Yeah, Robert's testing with Adrian Bertin for Corsatec in France, and then Tebow's driving to SIC. I guess David would have been available. But the idea, actually, I'm looking forward to this one because we have 3 world champions. We have one guy, David, who is sort of arguably in his prime, right? And has many years ahead of him racing. Then we have 2 guys who still both believe that they can win, and I think they can, but they are both sort of towards the end of their careers.
Transitioning.
Yeah, they are in the transition period. Their last sort of years when they can win, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
So we have 3 guys who all want to win. They're all capable of winning. 3 egos, same team. This needs to be and me, of course, involved in the mix. This has to be discussed now before the season starts. We have to talk through everything, set a bit of a game plan, and then so we're all on the same page. We know what's going to happen. We know what the plan is. We know how we're going to work together, and then we start the year, right? So I thought it could actually be really fun to do this as a podcast, and you can be the mediator. And then afterwards,
I'm going to have to put my cowboy hat on for that.
Yeah, but afterwards we can then see, okay, so this part we keep private, or maybe this part only for Mayako members, this is public. We'll see that afterwards, but we record it and everything goes as we record, and then we decide afterwards what we release, but it could be a good one.
All right, cool. That's coming next week, guys. It was supposed to happen this week, but we do have a lot of questions. So what we're going to do is take about half of those questions for this week, because you can come on next week and answer them as well, because people are just excited to have you on, I think. And they had a lot of questions. So we're going to go into some RC news. We're going to touch on a few silly season. I wanted to get your opinion on a few of the silly season news. We went fully in depth on silly season last week. So if you guys want to check that out, Max and I did on episode 218. Go check that out. But we're going to go. I just wanted to get your opinion on these moves. And I'm going to call it the RC news this week. And the RC news is brought to you by Hitec RCD in their 50th year. We'll be soon rolling out their 50th year campaign. Can't wait. Glad to have Hitec back on as advertiser. And also I'll be highly involved with Hitec at DNC coming up this year as well. But Hitec RCD is a leader in RC systems delivering the highest performance and reliability, supported by a dedicated customer service personnel. They have their 938-381TH servers. They also have the DB778 WPs, all manufactured with the high technology. I even heard they have another servo coming out as well. They also have some big news coming out, I'm told. The RDX2 Pro Charger, which I own myself, is working flawlessly with the Bluetooth dongle. Trust in Hitec, your servo and charger headquarters. Visit them at hitecrcd.com/where to buy for your nearest retailer, or if you're buying a Hitec product, let them know where you heard about it right here on the No Name RC podcast. And show us a little love. So JQ, not too much news going on. I don't want to get too crazy about silly season, but what an active silly season we had. It was a little bit slow to start. Mayako and Robert kind of started it off, and then there was a serious lull in between that, and then the Ryan Mayfield announcement to Techno. And then after Christmas, it just kind of went, like, here we go. Silly season just burst on the scene. We had lots of moves. But I think we're going to just touch on I would call these the three major moves. We already talked about Robert. We've had him on the podcast. We're going to touch on Tebow. You did touch on, let's talk about the Mayfield to Techno move. And I really want to know, can you let us know how close Mayako was to getting Mayfield on board? Was you that close?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, if we had just said yes, sign here, then he would have been racing Mayako now. But the thing about the Mayako deal was that we already have our driver. We have Ronnefag, right? And I think that a brand like Mayako that's only racing can only really afford one high value, expensive driver. Whoever else is signed needs to bring some other value than just, went to the Worlds, finished second. I went to the Worlds, I won the Euros. Like, the results are there. So adding another one, the gains are marginal, I would say, right? So for our American driver, we needed something else. Driver, yes, but there has to be something else. And in Mayfield's situation, that just wasn't there. Like, it was basically driver only. Tebow wasn't really something that was on our radar. It popped up during the negotiations with Mayfield and trying to find a solution for it. And then looking at it more, it seemed, okay, so Tebow was really keen. He has a web shop. He sells stuff. He has his JTP RC. He is interested in being an ambassador for the brand, doing customer service, doing videos, live, all of that stuff. So then that makes sense. He can still win. He's good enough. He hasn't been winning races on the level as Mayfield has over the last few years, but I would argue that with the right car, right setup, the confidence he needs to go out there believing he can win, I think he still can, So then the racing performance between those two is actually close enough, I would say. But then all the other things that Tebow does, social media presence, the web shop, selling, all of that made it clear that, okay, we have to go this direction instead. Okay.
Well, I guess this happened around after RCGP, because when I got that message from you, it was like, oh, what do you think about this? Do you think this can work? And I said yes. And then you didn't answer me for a long time.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm very bad with timelines.
That was like October.
Actually, no, I remember now, because it was when I was after the Worlds, when I was doing the traveling. I was actually in Italy when we were talking with Mayfield and that. And then right after that, or during that, sort of the Tebow talk started. So it must have been September, October. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll have him on and we'll find out what happened with Techno from the horse's mouth. I think, all right, well, as we're talking about Tebow and that was the biggest move. Let's touch on that a little bit. I think a lot of people knew this was going to happen, dude. It was crazy. I had like Sebastian Beltran from Colombia was so obsessed with this. He's like, I know it's Tebow. He messaged me every day. What's up, Sebastian? And people were messaging me every day. And obviously I knew what was happening because I was with you guys on the Invisible Speed tour and whatnot. The video dropped. It got announced, I think, like a few days late or a few days after it was supposed to. I know it actually got dropped while we was recording the podcast. I remember messaging you saying, "Man, this is going to drop. We need to talk about it and whatnot." I think the reaction to it was like successful. Like there was some bullshit, like obviously people bringing up their religion and all that type of stuff and whatnot. And we're going to touch on that next week. But otherwise than that, I thought that the reception of him was great. I think I've talked to him as well, and he seemed super confident. He was really like blown away with the Discord server and all that stuff and how helpful it is. And he's like, we need to get more people in there. And not only that, but talking to friends that were testing with him at like Hobbyplex and stuff like that. They were telling me that how confident he looks and how good he looks with the car and how he feels. So I didn't just hear it from him. I heard it from his friends that were close to him. And obviously you've been talking to him. I know you didn't really want him to go to SIC, but he wants to go. Are you a little nervous about that coming up? We're going to touch on the SIC, but first big race for him coming up here, SIC. What would be your expectations? Okay, you want him to win, but would a top 3 be good for you?
Yeah, I mean, real podium is top 3. I don't believe in those five car podiums. I didn't want him to go really because he isn't comfortable enough with the cars. He hasn't tried setups. If the car doesn't work, he doesn't know what to do. Like exactly because he hasn't had the time, and he's going alone. So I would have preferred that he just spends this time testing, learning the car, figuring everything out, making sure it's bulletproof, nothing breaks, falls off, performance is good. And then DNC would have been that like first debut, like here we go. That would have been sort of my preference. But now I would say if everything goes well, then he should be competitive. I don't see a reason why not. If he can finish top 3, then that's a success, I would say.
Okay.
I haven't actually even seen who's going. I just know.
Well, we'll talk about that. There's actually
normal guys.
Yeah, Cav isn't good. So let's bring up our next one. We'll finish on Mayfield. Cav to Schumacher and WRC. This was a move that kind of shocked me because I thought he'd done enough on the 10 scale side to stay at TLR. Now I don't know if it's he left TLR or TLR got rid of him, but we did have this, which I do want to talk about, the Racer Pale program.
Okay, so what I have heard is that Horizon was tightening up their budgets.
I heard this too.
Yeah, I think he had an offer. Like they didn't say, okay, you're done. They just said like, okay, here's your new deal. And then he didn't want to accept that. So he went somewhere else to get something that he feels is more like what he deserves, So that's what I heard. I'm fairly certain that that's what happened, that he could have stayed, but it just wasn't what he wanted. So he chose then. Yeah. So it's not like you're done, you're fired. No. Here's your new deal. The new deal wasn't good enough. So he started to look elsewhere. And I don't know about the WRC. I would say that the Schumacher deal is one that if he takes it the right way, if he does it right, it could be a good one for him also. Schumacher is that they have really good cars and innovative ideas, and they have not really been successful in America as far as sales for as long as I can remember, right? But
I mean, I
think there's a lot of room to grow there. So if he could help make the Schumacher brand like Yokomo was when Mayfield joined Yokomo and Amain took on Yokomo, and it suddenly blew up, and you could see Yokomos everywhere. Like if something like that could happen with Schumacher, that could be a good deal, right? So he has good cars. He does well. He's part of building and growing the presence in America. That could be something that has a future for him, right? WRC, I didn't let's go there. Like there were all kinds of issues, and he just
but they're under different management now. That was when they first started. They were under some shady management, and now they're under Hitec RC, and they seem to have the feet under them, and they're getting steady regional guys. Like I would say, it reminds me of like when I was with JQ. When we was doing JQ Racing, when I started, you have to go out there and there's regional guys, they're on the team and all that type of stuff. I would say that they got Chris Morant and Dylan Hoffman doing their team managing skills. So it's a growing brand. It's probably like Max described it. It's like S-Works was when it first started. I would say, but a little bit more regulated now. But it's growing. It's got two good drivers in Italy.
I would still say that I believe that Schumacher is that sort of
better deal.
Schumacher is a good deal and has good possible future, and WRC is like a Hail Mary last chance. This is the only thing I can get where I'm sort of getting paid what I want. That's how I look at that. I don't see a future with WRC, but potentially there could be a future with Schumacher. But do you remember years ago I said one of the issues in America right now, I think it was because we were talking about young drivers. Like in Europe, there are so many fast young drivers. All the Italians were coming up then, and Kilic weren't even really on the radar yet, but they were coming. And then we were thinking, who's in America? Like Rivkin was the last guy. Like who's next? And then the thing was that the argument was that the old guys are still being paid, and the new guys aren't given that chance. Like back when Mayfield was young, he went to that Desert Classic, Cactus Classic, it was then, and won a class or did well or whatever. And then he got better sponsorship, and then he went to some other race and did well, won, whatever. And then he was you're on the team. Like he was fast. He was nobody who started racing and beating the established Cavalieri and Tebow and these guys, right? I don't know who else was up there back then. So he got a chance. He became professional. That's it. Now, those same old guys are still being paid. Old, I say, 35 or whatever. But you get the point. Like those guys who have been on the scene for 10, 15 years, paid professionals, they are still getting the deals, still being paid. And then those young guys who could potentially be the next generation of top professionals, they don't get that. They get some travel. They have to choose, okay, do I do this, or do I go to school, or do I quit? Do I go to get a job? What do I do? Because they don't get that. Here's a full salary and be a professional, right? So when we were talking a bit about this, we said eventually the time has to come. Like maybe in America, RC sort of skipped a generation in a sense, but at some point, these old guys are not going to get deals anymore. And then I said Cavalieri is going to be the first one who doesn't get a deal.
You did say
Mayfield,
that.
Yeah, Mayfield, he puts in the work because he loves RC. Tinkers, he loves even just bashing with his car in the desert or whatever. Like he is into RC on a different level. Like he looks at his cars. He wonders, what can he do to improve? He goes online. He buys parts from A-Main or wherever. Spends his own money to get stuff he wants for RC, right? It's not just, I'm sponsored by them, so I get this. No. He loves that shit, right? So because of that, he goes the extra mile. He spends the time. He will keep winning for longer. That's what I felt. Tebow, he's building his future around RC, web shop, this and that, social media, also testing and racing, putting in the time. Cavalieri was more,
he does none of that.
I'm really good.
Just a
I'm
driver.
Talented. I will prepare my equipment as good as possible. I go to the track a few times. I'm ready. And that was good enough for when he was at his peak. But now it's not good enough anymore, So that is the difference. Like not sort of doing anything other than just racing and winning. So, okay, if your value is just your result, when you don't get results, you don't have any more value. You are
Any
not
more value.
testing, developing, improving the product. You're not doing customer service. You're not doing some social media stuff. Your only value is your result. So as soon as that result isn't there anymore, you don't have a value. That's one thing. And then the other, that the result starts to fade when your talent can't carry you anymore, right? And that effort level, when it's just preparing your equipment and not putting in the work at the track, I just felt like that would catch up to you sooner. And we can see that because Mayfield had options. He got a good deal. Thibaut, I think it's possible that Mayako was the only sort of really good option, but I still think that he could have, he would have had something because he's, like I said, building his future in RC. But Cavalieri, if this WRC thing doesn't work out, where's he going to go? I don't think there's anything anymore. If Schumacher doesn't work, where's he going to go?
I think this is his last
Schumacher, after 1 year, like, nothing happened in America. We can't continue. WRC implodes. What's he going to do? Like, I still see him being the first one that's out.
So now let's go back to 2018 when you wanted to sign Cav and you had this great business plan for him to go on JQ Racing. Is that Cav still something, the person you would have signed at 2018? Could you have changed him in 2018?
That's the thing. Like, back then I saw this, right? So I thought that if he has the will, he can become that person, right? So, because at that point, he was still good enough where he could have, with good equipment, good setups, he can go out and he can just win, right? But use that as a transition period into being something more than just that.
I remember that was the
idea back then.
Yes.
And I mean, yeah, because I've had this idea isn't something that's new, right? Right now, it looks crazy. Even I think that hasn't quite sunk in. Like, Mayako has Ronnefalk, Robert, and Thibaut, which is crazy good, actually. Because
a very good team assembled.
Any one of those could win any big race, say, and no one would really be surprised. Like, oh my God, right? They're that good. So this was actually always my goal, but it never worked out because before I always needed to find the guy who would take a deal where they bet on themselves. Back in the day was Hara, was even Drake at one point, Cavalieri, like all these people. I've tried to figure something out and it never really worked. And now it has worked. First guy we had to sign would just show me the money, Ronnefalk, right? But then the others, it's, okay, here's the deal. Here's how we're going to do it. And it's not just like Robert and Jared, they didn't sign because of money. They signed because of the opportunity, You're muted.
I'm muted.
So
Sorry.
Some people think that, it's Mayako's just paying. No, it's not like that.
I know.
This was a clear situation where Ronnefalk, you can make that argument, I guess, but it's more than that. I mean, we've known each other for so long. We made a sort of long-term goal for ourselves. It was an opportunity, but it pays well because he's arguably one of the best drivers in the world, right?
And he's putting in work.
Yeah,
he's still putting in work.
The other guys, it's not because Mayako paid more. Actually, I know for a fact Robert had an offer that would have paid more. But Mayako has a better sort of plan for his future a better deal in the sense that he can be a part of something. His own work will set the course of the brand. He has more sort of decision-making power. His influence is greater. And then long-term, he can make more money, yeah. So it's a different kind of deal, I would say, for Robert and Jared.
I'm glad you brought that up because I saw this so many times in the comments. I'm one of them guys who's always been like, oh yeah, this person left for the money. And let's be honest. Most of the time, these guys leave because they got a better paycheck, or they need, or like in Cavalera's, apparently in Cavalera's situation, he didn't get as much as he was getting before, so he went out to get something else. I mean, most of us, 99% of us will do that in our real-time jobs. And people have to understand that this is, for them, it's their real-world jobs. It's just what we do for fun. So these guys they have families to feed. They want to make money as much as they can to do what they love. So they have to go find this money in certain places. But to just say, man, it was funny. Oh, money. Tebow went because of money, and this because of money. And I'm just like, you guys just don't know. Like, I just don't know what you're talking about. But it's not my job to say that. But I can understand why they say that. All right. Two more things. So let's talk about the Mayfield move real quick. To Techno. This is going to be a big. So we got SIC. This is another person that all eyes are going to be on him. Do you feel that if Mayfield doesn't go in there and instantly win, is he going to have time, or is his expectation so high of him that he's going to win? Do you think he can win right away? Because I think he can.
Well, yeah, I think that. I think that in America, on the American tracks, he won't have any problems, and he can win just like before. But okay. I think that for worlds tracks, like in races in Europe, that kind of stuff, then I think the Mugen for him is better than the Techno.
Okay.
Because I would think that he would need to spend a bit more time to try to find the setup and make the car comfortable and fast for him on the European type tracks. That's what I feel. Just how the Techno is designed and built. For the American tracks, I think he'll be fine. Mm-hmm. For if we have a Worlds in Europe again, something like that. Like if he had raced that in Spain for the Worlds, I think he would find it a bit harder than he did with the Mugen. That's my guess.
All right. Speaking of Mugen, their choice to not sign any real top driver because they have the Killix. But I think Borok's still not full professional, but obviously probably going to be racing a lot more. Barkan's still in school. I mean,
neither of them, I think, are fully professional. And also, what's the kid? I always forget his name.
Frankie Contreras.
Yeah. Frankie. He's not fully professional, obviously, too. Drake is working at Mugen USA, so... Yeah, I mean, it's clear that they wanted to save some budget, so they still have good drivers. They still make the mains. They just don't have that sort of big star.
Top guy. Like, they went from, you can win every race you go to and I'm not saying that Borok or Barkan can't win a race. And when I was talking to Frankie Contreras' dad, I think they're not going to travel as much. I hope they do, because I felt that's what he needed. But I hope they do get a chance to travel. But we said this, and I think it's true too. I think that Mugens can survive on legacy for a few years here and just catch themselves, I think. So that's my thoughts on that. Real quick, and then we're going to finish this up. A lot of huff and puff. We talked about it extensively. I wanted to get your thoughts on it before we move on. The Horizon Racer payout program that they've initiated. I mean, and also the cuts that they made to their teams. Taking a lot of guys that had big deals, maybe not racing as much, cutting them down, making people race. In my opinion, making racers take some responsibility for their deals as well with the Racer RPP program. Your thoughts on this? Is it Is it good? I know JQ Racing had a contingency program for everybody who ran a JQ car. But what do you think about this? A lot of people liked it. A lot of people complained about it. I think the people that probably had big deals and don't have them anymore complained about it. So your thoughts on this contingency program?
Well, first of all, I think that it's good that the size of teams are cut down. So Proline, aka both owned by Horizon now, TLR. It's good that the amount of drivers who are sponsored or on a team, it's good that that's reduced. But there still needs to be a sort of point to the brand, racing brand. If you look at Proline or AKA, for example, there would still have to be a core group of guys who are the team, and they do go racing, and there is promotion, and the tires are available, and a push to sort of have people run the product, which seems to have evaporated, I think, a lot. So it's not just that, okay, we're just going to cut the team. There should still be an active sort of push for, we are still here and we are still active in racing. We still want people to run our product, right? Which I feel that that's kind of lacking a bit. So that's one thing. And then there needs to be a passion for racing. Like, oh, we have this product, a tire or a car or something, and we are working hard and developing it, and we want to win and be a part of this, even though you're not on the team, but it's like you want to run that product and race it. That's what I feel it has sort of disappeared with. If you look at Proline or AKA, for example.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But then
I agree
the contingency is good, yes, but I didn't read all the fine print, but isn't it something where to really be able to win, you have to run you have to run a TLR and a Proline and a Spectrum?
No. I mean, if you do win,
like
you'll win a lot, but you can win just running one of the products, and you can still get a decent.
Well,
payout.
then it's better.
Well, and it's only top 3, and it's the same rules. Like what we had similar rules. You have to have a shirt on your podium that's representing. You have to have decals. Your race report has to be in by a certain point of time. It's putting some accountability to the deals that all these guys want.
I would definitely say that that's a better way of doing things than what has been happening, where people just send in a resume and get a deal and they're on the team. I think this is a better way.
I think we're going to see more teams doing this, because I think that I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. The whole sponsor everybody, which I've been a part of on both sides. That business plan is slowly, surely crumbling on top of itself.
Yeah, with Mayako, it's quite good now, because yes, there are those paid drivers, but then below that, it's very, very limited. Like, if there's someone getting something for free or at a massive discount, it's for some reason. Like, they bring some value for something, but then generally it's just, okay, so you can get the membership and get discounts and other perks and all of that, or you can just buy the car. Like, that's pretty much it. There's no send an email and get a discount. No, doesn't exist. So that's
completely different from what everybody's used to.
Yeah, like everyone who asks, yes, you can get a discount on that. Just become a member, and this is all you get. And then some people become a member, some don't. But it was tough to convince people, even inside Mayako. I was the one who really was like, no, and how stubborn I am and can be, because we decided that. So then when, the sales aren't good enough or this or that, this is it. Like, we know that other way doesn't work. We decided this is what we're going to do. We're going to stick to it. And thankfully we did, because it is working. It takes some time, but it does work. We just have to make sure that we provide enough value for members, and that's it. So there were so many situations where we could have, compromised a bit or slipped here or there or changed. Every time I was just like, no. And yeah, it was definitely worth it.
Definitely worth it. You know what, dude? I still look at, like, I'm cool with, I'm used to Robert being, and I'm okay with Robert, you know, because, you know, you and Robert had a very good relationship. But looking at Tebow in the Mayako colors and with Mayako gear, and I'm just like, I'm still like this. And then, and also with the other positive thing is he's going to join InvisibleSpeed, because he used to do all that type of stuff before, like his camps and all that.
It is kind of weird, even to me. And I would say that with David, it was really easy to get along and work with him. With Robert, I didn't know for sure, but it was really easy. It really surprised me positively during the trip. But with Tebow, Tebow is going to be the hardest.
You just couldn't believe it. But I remember you just daily saying,
"What?"
Sorry, I remember when we was in South America, you still like, I just can't believe it.
What?
You couldn't believe that Tebow joined Mayako.
Oh, like, yeah.
At that point, I believed it.
I'm saying that David and Robert were really easy to work with, and everything was smooth, and there was no worries. But I already know that with Tebow, it's not like that. Like me working with Tebow, it's not that smooth, you know. So that's going to be interesting.
Limited exposure for you. For you. And by the way, Mayako has 5 world champs, according to Greg Degani. He's very upset about that.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, he's not really Mayako factory team, is he? And neither is Adrian. So yes, Adrian is a world champion, and he's David's mechanic. Well, yes, he's a world champion anyway. And
two-time.
Degani is also a world champion. He's running the Mayako. So yes, 5, but officially factory team 3.
There we go. Yeah. He was quite upset about that. He even made a Facebook post about it, and now he's threatening to go race next weekend.
Oh, really?
Good. It's like, I think I'm gonna race. All right. Well, thanks. I wanted to touch on that. Like I said, we went more like in depth, geeked out on silly season for about 2 hours with Max. But I really wanted to get your thoughts on this few moves. Any other moves that were made that kind of stuck out to you, that surprised you before we continue?
I would say Cole Ogden to TZO.
Okay.
That was one. I'm curious to see how that goes. I mean, yes, I tested the tires last year. Yeah, last year. Like I ran them at DNC and when I was over there in America. And also, it's going to be the control tire in Finland now for this season. So I'm curious to see. Back when I ran them, they didn't really have a compound that's good for like a long way compound. They were good when you had to run softer compounds. So, I mean, most races in America are like that, to be honest. But yeah, that was a surprise. He's the first sort of big name that they signed. So I can't remember anything else that stands out.
I think that one of the biggest moves, and then like Jones back to Agama was a shock. I didn't think that was going to happen, but I think he's kind of like one of those guys who, yeah, I think this is probably his last chance or last shot at it as well with Agama. He does have a full-time job and is doing this kind of part-time, but
yeah,
he has.
I thought of another one.
Which one was that?
Yeah, go on. He has talent. He did. I think he did pretty well with the Agama with the year he was there. So it'd be interesting to see what he does. He'll be driving that N1 too, so that's going to be interesting. Yeah, Matrix tires. So. That was another one. So Ongaro running Matrix tires was
not official yet. Not official yet.
Announced?
But
no. So there's 2 drivers that I know who are running Matrix tires. That was a big one too.
Well, 3 Polito as well.
Oh, Polito, did he run them now?
No, but he ran them. He won the Padova race, which happened this past weekend. And he didn't. So actually, Chris Sarkis was really good at this. So somebody sent it to Chris Sarkis, and he found where he put Matrix tires on his sponsorship like sponsor sheet. And then there was a picture taken of Ongaro, and he had this sticker of Matrix tires. So Chris Sarkis broke that. I shared it. And that's going to be, I know who the third driver is, and it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic works as well.
Yeah, that's going to be one to watch, I would say.
Oh, I know, especially with the two drivers we're talking about.
Yeah, Hot Race versus Matrix.
So do they have do you know anything about Matrix? Like, do they have a full line of tires? Will these guys will it be like a lot of developing tire brands where the guys will be able to run whatever they want if they don't have a tire available to them to run at that track?
Well, they have all the tires they need, or treads. I guess they're working on compounds. For now, the treads are sort of, so I would say, like, embarrassingly same as already available treads. But then again, that's a good way to really test compounds. So you know, like, okay, this is what we have, and then maybe they will develop more of their sort of own style treads in the future. That's something actually that I always respected J Concepts for, because almost all of their treads were always, you could look at them and be like, that's J Concepts. Like because Proline was the first, and then AKA made similar but different treads, I would say. And then you had Proline and AKA, and then everyone sort of just made the same. You could just look at the tire and it was like, oh, that's AKA this, or oh, that's a Proline whole shot, or and then J Concepts, they have all the same tires, like small pin, medium pin, big pin, long wear, like they have that, but they look different. The treads are different. So that was always something. And then new brands, when they come, it's just like same, So, yeah.
All right. Speaking of the IBR Padova one man, one race that took place this past weekend, which was the other big race, Barkan Killick TQ'd Nitro Buggy and E-Buggy. One E-Buggy. Polito won Nitro Buggy. I talked to Barkan. He said he was fast. He just had some issues, I think, in the main. I think he ended up coming third, and then I think his brother came second. I could be confused with that. I'm not sure. Barton was there.
I heard that Barton was leading, but he broke a wheel.
Yeah, I heard that too. Sorry. He broke something. Yeah, and Polito, I guess a successful debut for Polito on the S-Works chassis. This is another fast Italian I like to see get out to more races. How old is he? 21 yet? Still a kid, like still in his teens. Interesting. All right, JQ. I think that's all the news we're going to talk about. If we missed something, so be it. We are going on to the full recap of the Clash of Champions with Born a Crime. That's coming up after this. But we're going to go on to now. I think we're calling it the InvisibleSpeed Bench Racing Q&A. Does InvisibleSpeed want to be the Bench Racing Q&A sponsor now? I mean, it's always you or Max who's answering these questions anyway. So I thought it only right that we switch it over to you guys for 2023. But make your speed visible at InvisibleSpeed.net. You can do that via the book or the online course. Also be a part of the Discord channel, which is giving you homework to do. JQ, tell us a little bit about the InvisibleSpeed course. I know you've been busy. You got a lot of things on your plate.
Yeah.
But any plans? What's the plans with Tebow going into this?
I mean, it's coming together this year. So this year we were supposed to have 4 weeks of the more intensive live sessions, right? So you have a week of live videos and then homework. You do the homework. Then 3 months later, you go over the homework together, and then new discussions, new homework, and then move on. We only did 2 of them. So we got like halfway and then done. So now what we'll do now is we'll have a recap of those 2 sessions first this year, and then we'll continue like fully from the 3rd step. Okay. And then have homework, and then do the 4th step. And then 2024, we'll do the whole thing, hopefully, in 1 year. So when I say homework, it's basically we talk about we talk about driving, we talk about the car, the basic setups. Then we have, for example, ride height, droop, camber, front toe, these kind of basic changes. And everyone has to try something like the same low ride height, same high ride height, lower front, higher rear, lower rear, front, higher front, the industry standard ride height, and make notes for each one, what they feel. So when a lot of people do this, and we gather all the notes of what everyone feels, different skill levels, different cars, and they also pick their favorite, that's the best way to learn, because we've spoken about these things. Everyone goes back and tries them. Then we analyze the results. And because people do it for themselves, they have a much better understanding of what's happening. So we do this in, it's still evolving as we figure out what the best way to teach and learn these things are. But the idea is that there's a clear structure and people can really make good progress where they are happier because when they go to the track, their car is working better for them. So the driving is more fun and their results improve. And that's what we'll be doing. And now it's also good because we have more consistent support. So Robert will be there, Jared will be there, David will be there. And then we'll have also other guests time to time, because we need some people also from different car brands to join in. And on road, we'll be updating more videos with Hog Batty. And I've also been running on road now and specifically learning to understand the on-road setup. Because what I noticed was I know on an off-road car what's happening. So I understand the theory and I know what it feels like on the track, so I can explain that. But in on-road, when I started driving, I didn't know. Like, I would have a problem, for example, with the rear end being loose in a corner, but I didn't know why. So now what I've been doing is I've been looking at the sort of design on the computer, understanding the setup I have, driving, seeing what it feels like. And now I've developed an understanding of what I'm feeling on the track, and I'm able to describe that to other people. So we will be doing some videos also for the on-road side with Hogberry and myself, because it's that I would say that the theory and the principles are exactly the same. You just feel them in a different way. So, yeah. So the way you describe the things are slightly different. But it's crazy how the exact same things work and don't work, I would say. It's just that you have to link that theory to practice. So, yeah. Okay. So that's what we're doing. And for the book, actually, we sold out of French books. And we're on the third run of English books now. And I really want to update the book. I want to add some chapters about practicing driving, like driving technique, and then racing, and sort of managing your whole career if you take racing more seriously. So I want to add those chapters and then improve some of the existing ones and add a few more about some setup things. And when that's done, then we'll, have it translated and release a second edition. So that's going to happen here during this year for sure. Interesting. Well, I look forward to it. All right. Well, we got a lot of questions, JQ, and we're going to take a bunch of them this week. And then we'll finish up if your question to get asked. And I'm sure we'll have more questions between now and then anyway. But we're going to take a few questions this week. We're not going to do them all. So if you ask a question, don't worry, we'll get to it next week. First question is from Mark Bruton Young RC. Can you please tell me the theory behind the X-ray locking differential on the X-ray 10th scale buggies? Is it a quaif diff, as it seems popular of late for 10th scale buggies? Would this design translate to 1/8? I mean, I haven't even seen it, so maybe we have to take this one next week.
Yes, we'll answer this next week. JQ will take a look at this. Remind us to do that, Mark. Verkoop Elcon, what's up? Fifth scale manufacturer. What is JQ's biggest regret and proudest moment in RC? So your biggest regret in RC and your proudest moment in RC so far.
My biggest regret. I mean, maybe maybe my biggest regret is 2004 Euros in Italy. I changed tires for the semi-final. So back then we were running like XTR Proline Crime Fighters.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then for the semi-final, I changed to Knuckles. And I
like Knuckles.
I should have still run the Crime Fighters because even when they were, I knew it frustrates me when I start to think about this again. So I knew that the Crime Fighters will wear out and they'll be slick, but I knew that even then they will still be good. And I should have stuck with them because I started first, right, in the semifinal. So all I needed to do was just have like another 5-minute qualifier, pull away a bit, have a good, decent lead, and then just cruise to the finish. But I changed to Knuckles, and the track was a lot grippier, and they were a bit more edgy, right? Well, then again, I did run out of gas and flame out on the last lap. So anyway, but that's my biggest regret because I do remember thinking about it later, like, why the fuck didn't I just trust my instinct and just keep the same tires, So maybe that would be the regret. And what was the other proudest moment?
Success. It's proudest moment.
I think my proudest moment never happened. For racing, I would say not one, but the fact that I was able to make the main at every big race with my own car, except the Worlds. I made Montpellier, Neo, DNC, Silver State, Euros, Euro warm-up. What else is there? What is that? It? Are there any other big races?
I thought your biggest disappointment would be when you was on the cusp of making the main at DNC in 2018.
No, it wasn't.
And then you
say best success or something?
Yeah, but your biggest regret was when you was on the cusp of making the Nitro A main.
No,
the DNC 2018. You fucked it by putting stickers all over the place.
Yeah, but I had engine problems there, so it wasn't really. So yeah, I would say maybe that would be the proudest that I actually made my own car, and then I made every main except the Worlds. That, and then for non-racing proudest moment, obviously the Euros. So David winning the Euros first time out, that was special.
Okay. All right, so we're going to I need to get you fired up. So I want to get you complaining. So I'm taking one of our questions.
Well,
because we all know.
Can I get a beer?
Yeah, go get a beer.
Okay.
You should probably have these. Go in 3. You got your beer.
Gonzales.
No idea what that is. Where's that beer from?
One.
Okay.
Let's finish.
So you got a beer.
Yeah, probably.
You got a beer. And I got a question here that I think is going to get you, worked up a bit. So I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
The Mailman 110 asked this question in our Nnrc Discord. I would like to know JQ's opinion on the truggy class and the bruggy style bodies.
Haven't we covered this? Have we?
I think you've expressed it fully enough.
Okay. I would say that the only point of truggy is that it's a truck, that it's not a buggy. It's different, right? That's the point. It's bigger, wider, longer with a truck body. So if you put a buggy body on it like now, it's just a bigger buggy. what's the point then? I don't see any point in having that class if you don't have rules which makes it look like a truck. I would compare it to short course. Back in the day when short course came about, what if someone had put a buggy body on their short course? It's still the short course truck, but they have a buggy body on it. It would be ridiculous, right? That's equally ridiculous now that people are quite literally putting buggy bodies on a truck. It's so stupid. It's kind of the same in anything, but this is why regulation actually is a good thing. To some extent, you need to regulate. You can't just have a free-for-all. You need some rules. You need some guidelines. You need some regulation. That the way the truggy class is going is there's no point to it. But on the other hand, I hope that it dies. So, just
that's not happening.
Keep going.
E-Truggy's getting stronger, dude. E-Truggy's getting stronger. All right. Next question from Pat Finn. What factors affect clutch shoe life in 1/8 scale nitro buggy?
What factors? I mean, I think that track and traction levels, I would think. Sort of high grip, jumps, landing on power to clear the next jump, like hard hits on the clutch, those kind of things, like wear it out more. But the main thing is just different brands, different materials. Some last longer than others. That's the biggest thing. You find a clutch that lasts a certain amount of time. It's relatively similar from track to track, different conditions. It's not going to change that much. The big difference is different materials, different brands. Some, they look the same. Some last longer. Some wear out quickly. Okay. If you have a design also that the face that hits the bell is smooth without a groove, it will last much better, I would say. Also, the bell doesn't get grooves in it. So, yeah.
Sweet. All right. Next question is from Mike Harris. He just recently bought himself a used JQ Black Edition and wants to know what spare parts are a must for a race day.
Well, I mean, the absolute best is if you have two cars and you have everything. But
arms, front gearbox brakes, spare front gearbox.
Are we talking like 8 scale off-road or what?
Yeah, he's got a JQ Black Edition.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I would say you always want to have the plastic parts that are super cheap, but worth having, like arms, gearbox, the different links, just in case. And then hinge pins, shock shafts.
Shock ends.
Like on the Black Edition, also the front bumper. That's a good one to have.
Get the gearbox brace for the Black Edition as well.
For the front, yeah.
Yeah, front gearbox.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's really the most important. Then just normal like clutch springs, clutch bell bearings, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Same stuff you would need for any other car. Besides that front gearbox brace. All right. Jeff Keaton, our good friend and your good buddy.
When is he coming on for a rant?
That's what he says. He goes, when are you going to bring me on to add some excitement to your life? I think we need to get you and Keaton on together. It's been a long time. It would be good. Yeah. I haven't seen anybody piss you off as much as Keaton has.
There are some YouTube channels I watch, and the level of stupidity it really pisses me off. I've noticed that people say that I can't deal with differing opinions. No, I can. As long as they make sense. As long as that differing opinion is one that's based in reality and facts, and it's just another opinion, then I'm okay with it. Okay. But what really pisses me off is when someone like Jeff comes up with something that isn't based in reality. It's not real. It's not true. And then he passionately defends it. That's what gets me going. At least have a different opinion that's true and real.
I think he just has it just to argue with you.
Maybe, but those are fun debates.
Okay. All right. Another question from Mark Bruton Young RC. There's also a fad in 10 scale buggies for running the shocks upside down. Will this catch on in the 8 scale scene? Is there any advantage?
I missed. What was it? Upside down
shocks upside down. Yes.
No, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, people have tried it from touring car, 10 scale off road, that kind of stuff, time to time. But no, I would say that there's no point in doing that. Why?
Okay.
You lower the center of gravity, maybe, yes, okay, but you're also moving the shock body because now it's moving with the suspension, Yeah, just no.
Right,
just
so it's moving with the arm and not just staying in a stationary position on the. Yeah. I get that. All right,
like
so this next question.
Weights.
Oh, you mean like?
Yeah, like when Kyosho back in the day made those weights for the hub and stuff like.
Yeah.
Just set up your car.
Dan Shreve, he wants to know, this only applies to the Nitro class. Why do the F main racers pay the same as the A main racers? I know there's a lot more to this question. However, when these mains don't even get a fuel stop, it makes the effort that goes into these cars, we spend the money because we're passionate about RC. Seems that club racing has been lost and the money grubbing BS racing has risen to the top. Well, I mean, everybody has to pay an entry just because. So this is my thoughts on this. If you're going to go to a race and the entry fee is this much, it's not the race's fault that you're not in the A main. Now, if you're not happy with the amount of runtime that you're getting for the money that you're spending, then don't attend that race. Attend a race where you get the runtime that you feel you should be getting for the money that you're spending. That would be my thought. That's my opinion on that. Would you agree with me, JQ?
I agree completely with the last sentence he said.
So you think
about the money grabbing racing has taken over and club racing has been forgotten? Club racing is what most people should be doing most of the time, I think. And normally the entry fee isn't that high. And yeah, some people, if they make the main, they get the longer main than the lower main.
Oh, he's talking about the longer races.
But if club race is small enough, sometimes they give everyone a sort of longer main. So it depends on the racetrack and the race. But yeah, there's not really a way like, oh, well, you bumped into the main, so now you have to pay a bit more. I mean, that doesn't make any sense either. Like, you don't know before the race who's in the A main and who isn't. And it just is so that the A main's longer than the lower mains. That's how it is. When there's more people, you have to do it that way. So it's like a bonus. You made the main, now you can race a bit longer. I don't have a problem with that myself.
Okay. Peter Bartel, he asked this question of Max, and Max missed the ball, so maybe you can get it. I'll ask again because Max tried but missed, so I need to ask the master. Why do four-wheel drive off-road buggies 1/8 and 1/10 tend to run thicker sway bars in the rear? This is contrary to two-wheel drive buggies, on-road RC, and full-scale automobiles.
I think that the reason is that our cars, when we get on power, we can get much more aggressively on power and basically be faster if we add more support to the rear of the car. On nitro cars, we have an engine which is the single heaviest thing on the car. It's relatively high also, so that affects how the car transitions weight and rolls. It's at the back of the car, so when you get on power, load transfers to the rear anyway, and the rear is heavier, so that weight is being thrown around. You need something to stop the car from rolling too much. We do it with geometry. We do it with the shocks and the springs, but anti-roll bar is the best to just limit that roll. So there's that. On four-wheel drive cars, we have the motor and the battery are pretty far back in the current ones we have. So a similar kind of thing. It's not high up, but still there's weight on the rear. With four-wheel drive cars, we don't need so much. Like, we don't need or even want the rear to be completely stuck. Like, we want good grip and we want the maximum amount of grip at some point, but we also sort of want it to break loose at some time, you know? On two-wheel drive, that would be a bad thing. We want to maximize the overall grip on the rear of the car. And we don't have that much grip to sort of accelerate out with. So on a two-wheel drive car, I can understand why you would not run such a hard roll bar, because you want the rear grip to be more forgiving in a sense. A peak of traction isn't good if you then lose it, because a two-wheel drive car is harder to drive. You want more consistently good grip. So a harder roll bar makes it so you have great maximum grip, then you lose it. Not that good for two-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive, it can be good because you drive it within that maximum, right? And when you go over that, you can save it. You have four wheels driving. So it's a different situation. But yeah, mainly, and also another thing, four-wheel drive car, if the rear end is soft, this is kind of how Ronnefalk likes his car to be. But when you have that feeling of you're driving a corner, then you get on power and you want to straighten out, if the car keeps turning, you feel like, okay, I'm going to go straight now, but it kept turning. And you get that sort of fishtail rear feel. That's caused by the rear being too soft in roll. So you apply throttle as you're still turning and it rolls too far, more. And that unsettles the car and it doesn't go straight. That's a problem more in four-wheel drive cars than two-wheel, because you can get on the power that much more and it drives forward that much more. And that is reduced a lot by increasing the rear roll stiffness. So it doesn't roll when you get on power. So when you exit the corner, it goes more straight. So I don't know. Those are my first initial thoughts on that. Why we run harder roll bars in the rear. You can get setups that I think work well where you have the same roll bar front and rear on our buggies too.
Dallas Hoover, he wants to know, is there other things to try to change first? For example, when you're at a new track and for example, when you're at a track and you need more off-power steering, what would you try first? Front diff fluid, center diff fluid, droop? And he says, thanks, I love the podcast.
Off-power steering, I think, let's say that everything about the car is good and you're comfortable. You just feel like in the tight hairpins of power, you have to wait for the car. It pushes. Then I would look at the steering geometry itself. So the first thing I would do is I would move the steering link out on the knuckle. So most cars have some adjustment on the steering knuckle where you attach the link to the knuckle. If you can move that further out, that will reduce your acumen and it will help, especially in those tight corners off power. The car will just turn more, rotate more. The downside is that initial steering is a bit more. So that's the trade-off. Can you make do with a bit more initial steering, but then know that in the tight corners, car will turn more? I would do that because it doesn't affect the balance of the car otherwise, like bumps, jumps, everything else happening. It doesn't really affect that. It's just that initial steering feel plus steering around a tight corner. So that's the first thing I would do.
Okay. Benjamin James. So this is a idea he has. I'm going to have to read this really carefully. What do you think of the idea of a battlefield promotion in RC racing? He says, let me explain. On the PGA's development circuit, now known as the Corn Ferry Tour, a player wins 3 tournaments before the end of the year. They are promoted to the PGA Tour for the rest of the year. What do you think about this if a racer wins their class, say Sportsman Nitro Buggy, at 3 regional events or national events or national level events, they are moved to the intermediate for the rest of the year, or they win 3 intermediate Nitro Truggy and moved up to pro. So basically what I'm trying to say is trying to get some an incentive to get people to move out of these imaginary classes that we have in RC that aren't separated by anything besides an imaginary line.
Yeah,
that separates
that would be good,
and intermediate. It takes.
We don't have any organization or anything that could make something like this happen. Everyone is doing their own thing. They have their own races and own classes and own names, and there's no structure to our hobby or sport. It's the whole problem.
Yeah.
You can't have that kind of ranking system or anything like that, which would be really fun. Like, you would have club racing and then you have bigger races, which you can just do the bigger races, or you can have a bigger picture where, like, I want to rise through the ranks and get to some world final or whatever, or national final. Like, that makes racing a lot more fun when you have a goal like that, instead of, one big event, another big event, another big event. It's so much more fun if there's like a longer term goal for it. Yeah, but we don't have any structure, so we can't do that. And same goes for pro racing. Spend all this money going to all these races, and so rare to see all the top guys at the same race. Like, I want to see I want to see the top Europeans and the top Americans racing each other, right? I want to see that, all these switches, like Mayfield leaving Mugen, going to Techno. Well, how is he going to stack up against the other guys, and Robert to Mayako and all of these? Like, we just don't have any structure, anything in RC. It's fucking frustrating.
That's probably why DNC is so important to us, because it's the only race that really allows that to happen besides the Worlds.
Yeah, one of the only ones. I think it's because it's the first big race of the year, and in Europe, weather's bad in most of the places. So it's just become that thing where, okay, it's the first big race. All the Americans go. Okay, so then more and more Europeans started going. As a race itself, it's, honestly not that great, unless you like the sort of community aspect of everyone being stuck, mostly sort of in the middle of nowhere, just sitting around all day. So there's a lot of socializing and that side. Yeah, if that's your thing, then it's an amazing race. But if your thing is like driving your RC car and racing it around the track, it's not a very good race for that. But yeah, first big race, so a lot of top guys show up. But it's just we could do it so much better.
I swear, like, Dave could do this with race time, because the same people go to all of his races, I believe. So if it was any person that could do this, it would be race time. Like, if they just wanted to do it. And then it wouldn't take much effort to tally up points. All right, JQ, you know what? We're going to stop there with our questions because we have a few more for next week. So we're going to save those for you next week. And if you guys have any questions, please find this post. It's the post with JQ in the green hair and me. And I'll repost it anyway. We'll get to ask some more questions, because you will be back on to take some more questions for the InvisibleSpeed Bench Racing Q&A. Remember, everybody, make your speed visible with InvisibleSpeed. You can check it out at InvisibleSpeed.net. Check out the books, the online course, and, of course, the awesome Discord server. JQ, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go talk to your Mexican protege. We're going to talk about his racing, and then obviously the Clash of Champions. Then I'm going to bring you back for the conclusion, because we're going to make our picks for SIC that's coming up this weekend. So I'll see you in a bit, and thank you for your time for answering people's questions. Joining me in the virtual NNR studio, chilling out on his couch, looking too relaxed. His name has been mentioned many a times on this podcast. His JQ's favorite 10-scale racer. He's Mexico's greatest hope. We have the man himself, Matty G, a.k.a. Glitch RC, a.k.a. hashtag Born a Crime or /BOC. Finally on the podcast. After all these years of talking about you, we have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm excited to come on and talk about Hoosier and a little bit about what I got going on. And yeah.
Yes, we're going to talk about you. Hopefully this leads to you being on here more often, as now I'm geeking out on 10 scale. I'm really enjoying it after my first 2 10 scale races.
Yeah.
And I hope to be at the Worlds, but this is your world, and I want to talk about it. So I think you having you on her as a co-host, and as you get used to this, you'll like it a lot more. And thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. You are feeling a little bit under the weather?
Yeah. I always get sick each time I go to a race. I don't know why. Like during the event, I'm fine, and then as soon as we fly home, I'm dying. So
I'm just tired too. I get tired all the time from these races. All right. So for people that don't know who you are, maybe tuning into this for the first time, this is Matthew Gonzales. He's from San Diego area. Yep. Okay. You're like what, 19 now?
21.
Okay, so you are legal. Okay, you're legal in America. Yep. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You said so you've been racing since 2010. How'd you get into racing?
My dad, when he was around like my age, like he would go down to our local track and race. He did it for a couple of years, and then after that, I guess he wanted to have a family. So him and my mom kind of put everything away, and then he kept a good amount of his stuff. So we would go down to our local park and just drive around. And then we broke apart and we went to our local hobby shop. They told us that they had a track, and ever since then it's been nonstop.
What was your local track back then? You remember? Is it still around?
My dad, I think he went to Family Hobbies or Discount Hobby like Warehouse.
So where's that to in retrospect? Like I'm not sure.
That is
in the San Diego area?
Yeah, I'm not sure where Discount Hobby like Warehouse was, but it was somewhere in the San Diego area. It wasn't close to SDRC, to my knowledge.
Okay. So when did things pick up a little more serious? So 2010 would have put you around 10. Yeah. So when did you start like taking things seriously? And was it always 10 scale for you? Did you try any other classes?
I ran 8 scale like 2014, like 2015. I ran for Techno.
Really?
When they first came out with their Nitro buggy, I thought it was cool. Our track was like 5 minutes away. Everything was going good. People were stealing our tuning iron wrenches. So my dad wasn't a huge fan of that. So after that, we kind of just pretty much like sold everything.
I went to 10 scale.
Yeah, and then I had ran 10 scale like full time, and then we dabbled into 8 scale, and then after that, then our track closed like a year after that, and I haven't ran 8 scale since.
Okay, we still want to get you running 8 scale. I know it's probably never going to happen, but
I'm trying to get e-buggy just to start out.
Okay, that makes me not very happy, but I get it. You need a pit guy. Get Sorchi to be a pit guy.
Yeah, I could. It's just a matter of him coming to all these like races. I would probably like,
Oh, he would love that. He's your biggest fan.
Oh, I know. Oh, that was
What's
my
up, Mike Sorchi? Huh?
That was my old like roommate. That was my landlord.
Oh, he's got a race coming up this week too.
I know he does. He's big time like Sorchi Raceway guy.
I know, but it's not going to happen, right? Because of the rain or something?
Depending on how it is, it's SoCal. You never know.
You guys been getting a lot of rain there.
Yeah, they were pouring down like yesterday for sure.
So okay, coming up through the SoCal ranks, because right now we're talking about a time when, OCRC is banging, like this is the Mecca, the heart. I mean, still the Midwest is banging at this time too, but you could go to OCRC any day. And Cavaliers there, in this time, like OCRC was just a place to go.
Yeah.
And then I've never been to SDRC, but I've seen many videos and pictures of it. And the previous owner used to be really active on social media.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about that coming up through those ranks. I mean, stock was something serious back then. Well, it's still serious now.
Yeah.
But, just a lot of competition in that area.
Yeah. So coming up like in the stock era, I guess, of when like OCRC like was open, and then we had a couple other tracks. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but OCRC was the most kind of prevalent track that we would end up going to. It was hard. Our San Diego group of locals, like I'd say like 4 or 6 years ago, our expert was their sportsman and their expert was our modified guys. So we would go up there and get smoked in sportsman, but run expert at home and have no problem. But I think over the past like few years, a lot of our guys have started to travel more, and we've definitely had more of a presence inside of California and outside of California.
Well, I mean, even just this weekend, you had the Dyad at Hoosier. We're going to talk a bit about them.
They're actually like my neighbors, so it's.
Oh yeah, they're so tiny.
I know. They've grown a little bit, but they are like little people, like for sure.
How old are they again?
12.
Okay, we're going to talk more about those two amazing twins that are racing 10 scale. So, working at SDRC, how long did you do that for?
I worked there from when I was, I think, 18 or 19 to about a couple of weeks ago. It was fun. It's definitely, different being behind the counter and helping like people out. I really like helping like people out. Like when I was a kid, there was only a few select guys that you could really go to like for knowledge and help. And if you weren't close with them or didn't know like what to do, it wasn't very fun, especially like with us racing on slicks 24/7. It's a tire game. It's a setup game. Having someone being able to be behind like that counter and help out with, a good amount of knowledge, I think helps the whole hobby grow.
Well, I mean, I saw you at FCC and you were so busy. So just so people know, you really were like a stock national champion. I believe you won the nationals, right? That's where you go ahead.
I won 2-wheel and 4-wheel in 2021.
Okay. So, this is your game. For those who might be like, well, Lefty, you're going completely crazy. Or you're talking about the stock. No, people actually got to see it. I understand it now. It's far from stock.
Yeah.
But it's exactly what I like.
About stock
exactly.
Motors, cars, anything like that.
Spec mod will be a better name for it. But in my opinion, it's the closest thing we have to 450s and 250s in RC. Yes. And the competition within the stock class is immense. The people now that I know who these drivers are, I've been to 2 races. I don't know them all, but I know who they are. I'm watching them. Like I watched a lot of the stock racing from this race this past weekend. But I saw you there working on motors a lot. Now I know nothing about this.
Yeah,
I know that people used to work on motors back in the day, but that was brushed motors and stuff like that. What do you do? Like FCC, I just saw you constantly with people's cars walking, doing motors. What are you doing to people's motors in between runs?
We're just making sure everything stays as consistent as possible. So when like you're running stock, there's rotor strength, like then there's like stator stuff, just checking the I forgot the name of it, of course. You're checking all 3 poles to make sure that the God, this is the worst time to forget any of this stuff.
That you know that you do.
Making sure that the resistance of all 3 poles is pretty close and like consistent. You're checking like inductance, trying to make sure everything's, gonna run good off the track. So we have like motorizers and dynos and rotor checkers. So we're all checking each part of our motors to make sure that if it looks good on paper, it might be good on the track, but that's not always how it translates.
So how are you adjusting this stuff? Just through.
So Trinity, they distribute this thing called a motorizer, and then Phantom and a motorizer and this RMS Pro like make a rotor like checker. They're all really like useful tools as long as you know what you're doing. There's that, and then there's a couple companies that make the resistance like checkers. And just
so is this all hooked up to like a laptop and stuff? I should have really want to pay more attention to it.
It's all hooked up to like a machine.
Okay. All right. And then that machine then allows you to make different tweaks to motors where they interesting stuff. I gotta follow this a little bit more. Sorry for the newbie questions, everybody.
No,
this
you're good. It's
me.
definitely like having to explain this stuff to people isn't easy, but once people understand it, like so was Sorgi like living in the same area? Like he could probably put a motor together just after hearing everything or seeing everything that I've done.
Got you. All right. So now you currently work at 1UP. Mm-hmm. How does this work? I'll be honest with you, man. I really know nothing about your boss. I'm sorry. I don't know much about him. I guess because mostly, I guess he came up in the 10 scale touring car world, and I don't really know too much about that. But tell us what you do at 1UP, how they support you and whatnot.
Yeah, Randy definitely has stepped above and beyond. When Yokomo kind of decided to get rid of us all, he like stepped up, and it gave me, Joe Pillars, and a couple other guys a place to call home under the 1UP associated brand. Randy was huge in the touring car and almost won a couple like national titles in modified like touring car. He helps get me to all these events that everyone like sees me at. It helps pay for my travel. Helps me, afford to live in, the place I'm at. And there's a good amount of stuff that he does to support my racing program.
That's awesome. So what is your job there at 1UP now?
I'm making orders. I'm updating his website, responding to Facebook messages and Instagram like messages. So if you message like 1UP, most likely it's me responding.
Okay, sweet. Are you super busy? Is there a lot of messages? Like,
it depends on the day and when we come out with new products. So most of the time when we have a new product, it's pretty busy for that week, and then after that, it kind of chills out. Or if we're at a race, that seems to be like the most hectic time.
Okay, all right, interesting stuff. So we've given you a lot of shit about this. I'm seeing it firsthand. It's not that easy. JQ has said you're dead to him because you did run stock the other day. We were talking about that.
I know.
He's probably going to have a lot to say because he's on this podcast too. But your adjustment to mod, not easy. Maybe I was expecting you to just be instantly like right there and fast.
Yeah.
Not in 4-wheel drive, you've been doing good. 2-wheel drives have been a bit of a struggle for you. You didn't have a decent result in 4-wheel drive this past weekend. Well, what has been the biggest adjustment and the hardest thing for you to overcome adjusting from stock to mod?
Car setup. So Randy Castor and Barry Baker both get on me, for this. Is I'm always chasing tenths or trying to make my car faster than it is. And sometimes it's as good as it's going to get, and I just got to deal with it. So before this race for 4-wheel, I called Barry and was like, hey, I want to get better. Like, what should I try? And he told me to just bring my charger in my car and tire sauce and show up to the track. So I did that for a couple of days, and it seemed to really pay off. So I'm super hesitant on making changes to my cars, and it almost paid off this weekend in 4-wheel. 2-wheel, I still got some stuff to figure out, but it's definitely harder to not be the fastest guy out there and accept that, you're going to be a little slower than what these guys are doing, because you get used to it for so long, being the fastest one or having the fastest lap or, the best car. You're in a whole different world. Like once you step into that threshold of modified. Right.
Because I think that's all negated. Yes, you still need a good setup, but you don't.
Yeah.
In mod, you're not lacking for power.
No.
And I mean, that's one of the cool things about stock is that there's actual a mechanical difference between the cars. I mean, I literally have seen the difference in motors at these races, Yeah,
no, it's dramatically different depending on who you run for and who's building your stuff. It's a big deal.
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen cars. I'm like, wow, that's nowhere near as fast as those other cars out there.
Yeah.
Well, that car running that motor.
Like you watch them and it's like, oh, it's a mod car, right? And then you realize it's, little 12-year-old like Raymond kid like running stock and you're getting ran down.
It's crazy. It's great. I like it though. Now that, like I said, I used to diss stock pink pinions. I still think that's silly, pink pinions, but I get it. But after getting there and just watching it and getting to see other people, like the competition level there is, it's good. Like the guys that are racing is
you crash and you're done, like pretty much.
Yeah, it's super stacked in there, and I want to see more of these young guys, or not all of them are young, but these guys who are running it, and when they do, I'm kind of like, if you want to run stock, that's fine, run it. Like, I'm cool with that. I look at it as a class like e-buggy or truggy now.
Yeah.
That's what I look at it as. instead of like that intermediate level. Which it still kind of is a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's still like the 250 class, but it's not like I get it. I honestly get it. I get it.
It teaches you a lot, like for sure.
Yes, and people make money off this. There's a lot of money in stock. Yeah. A lot of money in stock.
I was one of them that did it. Randy paid for all my travel. Like I went to all these like races and ran stock. So
and then you make money off the motor companies as well if you win. Yeah. And stuff. I know how it works. I think that's what blew me away when I first figured that out. Millington was telling me all about that. Yeah. Ryan Millington down in South Carolina.
Yeah.
All right. So I finally got to see you race at the Florida Carpet Championships. Great race. I really enjoyed it. I love carpet. Finally got to see you race. Met you before, but never seen you race. It was good. I've thoroughly enjoyed that event. Thank you to Daniel Chavez and TJ Bradley. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. Great facility. I want to be there for the carpet. I want to be there for the carpet nats. We'll see. Tell us a little bit about that. You dropped onto stock to race that. But you didn't win two-wheel drive. You got four-wheel drive.
I don't know why. Just in two-wheel, I've kind of struggled this whole year. It's just trying to figure it out, I guess, and always like chasing like something. But my four-wheels always felt good. I just kind of throw it down, and it seems to work. You throw a setup on it, and it's all good. Yeah, I dropped down stock for the Florida Carpet Champs. Kevin and I had a talk about like me running stock at one event this year, so we decided to show up and see how it went. I came to help out like Trinity to see, if there's anything like lining up for a job. It didn't end up like working out, but everyone over there like AJ and Dieter and Kevin, like I can't thank them enough for everything that they did for me last year.
Yeah, you said you took that win for Ernie Provetti.
Yeah.
I mean, as we go on, I want to talk to you about him, like as we do episodes. But that's one guy I wish I would have interviewed.
Yeah, I was supposed to talk to him. I had always emailed him and stuff like that, but I was supposed to talk with him on the phone a couple weeks before he died, and of course, I slept in and didn't see the call. So I always kick myself in the butt, for that.
I mean, he must have that man has so many stories about the RC industry. So cool. So cool. But unfortunate that his going, I like his style. He seemed to be ahead of his time. Yeah. And he didn't take no prisoners. He was ahead of his time and his thinking of advertising. And he kind of told people how it was. It seemed like it. Never met him, but just that's the kind of image I have of him.
Yeah.
All right, man. I think that's enough talking about you. We are here to talk about some more 10 scale stuff. Yep. That is a little bit of 10 scale silly season. Then the Clash of 2022 Clash of Champions that you attended this past weekend. On my last podcast, Max and I went over silly season. A lot of these we talked about, but as a 10 scale guy, I wanted to get your thoughts on them. I think one of the biggest surprises for me was Kotalar to TLR. CFT. Yeah. Didn't see that coming. I think he's a great 10 scale racer. I think he's a good 8 scale racer too. Great person.
Yeah.
Did this switch shock you as well?
No. There was some talk of him going to TLR a couple of years ago, and I knew he was trying to join the team. But I think with Cavallari no longer being involved with TLR, I think it just made room for him to finally like step out of the AE side and just go over to TLR. Do
you think it's going to be a good fit for him?
Yeah. He gets along like with all those guys from what I've seen. It seemed like they all like work well together. Cole brings a good amount of setup knowledge as well. So
yeah, he's what is he? Is he like he got a degree in something, right?
Yeah, I think he's like engineering or something like that.
Okay, so he's smart. Speaking of that, Cav out at TLR. I was a bit shocked by this. Because I thought he did enough 10 scale wise to stay on the team.
I heard rumors about it, but I didn't believe it till I heard it actually happened, and it kind of shocked me. Like for sure, he definitely did a lot. I think he ran 10 scale like all year and was competitive each time he went on the track. He almost won 2-wheel drive modified at the nationals like earlier, in both like carpet and dirt. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was 8. I mean, he did not have a great 8 scale year.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I think maybe Cole was a little bit less money as well, because I'm sure he's like a full-time driver at this.
Yeah.
And Cav's expensive. So it's going to be interesting to see him if the Schumacher car, especially on these dirt tracks.
Yeah.
Because I think this is the first time Schumacher's had a driver of his, not saying that, let's be honest, like Brock's pretty much known as a carpet racer.
Yeah.
He can do it on dirt. I'm not saying he can't.
Yeah, no, he definitely TQ'd and won a couple dirt races, like when he ran for Associated. He came out swinging with the Schumacher stuff at the exact race a couple of years ago. But he's always up there. He's always in the realm of competition on dirt as well.
Right. But we're talking about Cav, who has 4 really championships. I can't remember, 4 world championships, all on dirt type tracks.
Yeah.
It's different. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what he can do with the Schumacher car.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting. Jorn Newman, I don't know. Do you follow the European side more?
Jorn, I used to run a team Durango cars as a kid. So Jorn was like, pretty badass guy, like in 4-wheel. So it was pretty shocked. I wasn't super shocked. I saw him like travel with Mika to a couple events. So I was like, okay, like maybe. And then I saw that he was out at Schumacher. I'm like, oh, he's probably going to S-Works.
Yeah. And speaking of that, S-Works is on a big push.
Yeah.
In the 10 scale world right now. I mean, Bornhorst has been busting his ass. I know I can't imagine how it feels, because his always in the mains in 8 scale, right? And he's very good in 8 scale. And I'm not saying he's good in 10 scale, but it's hard. It's so competitive. And I watched him at 2 10 scale races, and you can see he's still got a little bit of 8 scale aggressiveness.
Yeah.
That you might get away from an 8 scale car.
Yeah.
His results are getting better, but he's hammering away. And Spencer,
he's definitely been putting in work and trying to get it seems like everything like figured out for the whole like S-Works camp, like running like 10 scale.
Yeah, on carpet though, that car is really good.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it's really good on carpet.
Mika's really good too on carpet.
Yeah,
great guy. JC Rutherford for Dustin Evans. Now I call this guy the old guy of RC. I'm still shocked that he makes mains. He's probably only like 30, but
he's good though. Like
he's still good.
Super consistent, super smooth. Like he's always up there.
Is this going to help him? I think him getting on JC Robert is going to help him.
So. Like I definitely like this weekend, like watching his cars. The first few packs he did, he looked super competitive off the bat. So
yeah, he looked good this week. I mean, he didn't make 4-wheel drive, man, but I think he finished 4th in truck.
4th in truck. He qualified 3rd in 2-wheel.
Yeah. So I think it was a decent weekend for him. And in the stock world, I think the biggest move for me, I did not follow all the stock world, but I think Kyle going to TLR, like literally, if this was like, when not comparing it to when when Kinwald switched over. But he was like factory tracks associated.
Yeah.
And that's like you're going completely over to the, I would say, enemy camp with TLR. But like you said, probably a good move for him as well.
Yeah. No, I think that they offered him a little more support than what he had. I know he had ran for Al for the longest time. And I think with him running like Trinity, like stock stuff, it'll help his game as well. It's just not having to worry in the back of his mind, like, oh, am I going to be, struggling or, like something in that realm of possibility.
That's gonna be interesting. He had his first drive with the new equipment this weekend. Yeah. We're gonna talk about that. Schimmel moved up to mod as well, which is good to see. So I don't really have any more news silly season wise with that. I'm not gonna get into all the big motor moves and stuff like that. But that is pretty much it. It's gonna be interesting to see what Tollard does, and of course, I'm gonna be following like I'm telling you, man, the S-Works is coming in 10 scale. They're really pushing. No,
they're definitely putting a push forward. So,
all right, so let's get talking about this race that you attended this past weekend. I mean, it's the second weekend of 2023. We had 2 races on. This one was the biggest one. It was a 10 scale race, and then we had the 1-man-1 race in IP in Padova with 8 scale in Italy. But this was held at the Hoosier Rc Hobbyplex in Indiana. I'm not sure the exact address. But but have been familiar with this track. I have never been there. I've seen it on Facebook. I think it looks like a beautiful facility.
Yes, for sure.
They are very active on social media. I know a few people that run there. I heard nothing but great things about the track. It's a very unique surface as well. But the facility looks great. Tell us a little bit about the So just for all of you to know, this racer is the first annual Clash of Champions.
It was the replacement race for the CRC like Midwest Champs race.
Right. So this kind of kicks off. Now, back in the day, it would have been the RC race that was electric. Then I think they would have had the Nitro race, which used to be big. I don't think it gets attended. Well, it didn't get attended as much as it did. But that track that facility closed down last year, which has been open for, I don't know, almost 30 plus years.
Yeah.
It was sad seeing that because the owner was showing pictures as he was like,
taking everything away.
And you could see the pain that he was going through in his pictures. So it's unfortunate, but this facility has, like, I can only see that. I think it was did I write notes on there? But I think it was like 412 entries, even though I don't count entries, but that's a lot of entries. It was 171 people there. This was a big 10 scale race.
Yes, for sure. Like there was a good amount of people from all over the place, like from Cali, like from NorCal, from the Midwest that all came to this event for the, like first annual, which is good to see, judging that it's the first annual, and they got a lot of the like factory guys going.
Yeah, and exactly. So this race had almost all the top guys there, besides Cav and Mayfield, I would say. Yeah. But everybody that was somebody in mod was there, and I think it had a pretty stacked stock class. There were some guys that were probably fast that wasn't at this race, but it was stacked. It was a great first race of the year. Tell us a little bit about the surface, because it is a glue track. So it's indoor clay. They use a mixture of like glue and water. I'm familiar with this. We had a track like this here in the DR.
Yeah.
The Barcelos track in Portugal is like this. There was similar stuff being used at the Worlds in Redovon. But I've never seen it like what they've done. So they coat the track.
Yes.
And then they coat it every night. And so I asked them why. And he said because the cold just dries it out.
Yeah, the cold dries it out, and after running so many laps, the glue and the abrasion goes away, so it gets a little like slick. So Thursday practice, the track wasn't super high bite. It was the first time anyone had hit the track, so there wasn't for them. They just kind of threw everything out there, and after that, they came back that next day, re-glued, and we had grip off the charts. Our cars were flying off the track. A lot of people were
tracks around
out. Didn't know what to do. Yeah. So the grip definitely at the beginning of every day was super high. And then by the end, it would like mellow out. Sunday was the only day I felt where the grip was the same the whole day.
Well, that was very similar to what we had here. So it would be really good. Like, well, we didn't coat it as much as that. They would put one big heavy coat on, and then, it would last, and if it rained, it was impermeable, but the water did take it away.
Yeah,
it was actually too much traction. It was actually better when it got some rubber on it, but we're talking about 8 scale buggies compared to 2-wheel drives. So I was shocked that they were putting. So I can imagine that when they started coating it every night, it was super high bite.
Yeah, no, it was the most grip I've ran on out there. Davey bought his track, Coyote Hobbies. They have a glued like surface track as well, and their stuff is gnarly high bite. Like our tires are getting chewed up for how much grip like there is. Like it's, you put fresh tires on, you have grip like instantly. So
what type of prep are you doing? Any prep or just saucing, or what's going on for this type of surface?
So what we were doing, at least what I was doing, is I was on the first few days I was getting tires, burning them in with sauce. I use like TDK. And then you take like Scotch-Brite and you kind of sand the like middle rib off, and you go out there and it should be pretty good off the bat. It's a little swirly because the tire's new, but within a lap or two, it was going straight and everything felt fine.
Now, how long are these slicks lasting? The brand new
A
ones.
lot. I know Dustin was going out on 2-run tires.
Okay.
By mains, we were all doing like 1-runs, I think.
And what compound were you guys running?
We were running like silvers.
Okay. I thought the track looked very good. I really like the yellow infield when they spray the glue over it so that it doesn't get destroyed like a lot of the infields get. As a spectator, I felt it lacked a triple or a jump section that separated stock. Maybe I'm looking for a big sanded one.
It weren't super close together from stock and mod. There was a couple guys that were throwing out burners that were in the same second range, but nothing was super close in the range of lap time wise.
It did seem high speed though. I mean, the jumps
super high speed. Yeah.
And it's actually quite big. It looks bigger than OCRC.
No, it's huge. Yeah. Like when I went and ran that SDRC like last night, I was like, oh boy, like my car feels so close to me and like it feels way bigger than the track feels.
Yeah, and then like when I was watching the coverage, but the coverage was by Mod Live Media, by the way, he did a great job. And it just seemed like, after coming from Masters, which is a little smaller, a little square, this was very a long track. It looks like
the track was huge.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the facility, just videos of it, but it's a really great facility. I know that. I think Eddie Henley is the owner.
Yeah.
And he puts a lot of passion. He messaged me afterwards. So I enjoyed it. I was following, by the way, people, I actually geeked out. I followed this race almost the entire weekend. The only races I watched all the stock race mains. I didn't watch every truck main, and I didn't watch the last 2 races, which were the Clash. Yeah. But I followed this whole race on YouTube on Mod RC or Mod Live Media with Matt Olson. He did a great job. Lance was there as well. I like Lance calling races. He sounded good on the stream. I heard some people said he kind of sounded a little muffled in there, but he sounded hoarse by the end of the race too.
He said he had a sinus infection, so everything that that I have like right now is probably like what he had.
Okay. He's going to that SIC race this weekend, so he's in for a double whammy. All right, so I think it's what part of Indiana is it located in? How easy is it to get there?
It's like 15 minutes from the airport.
Okay, from an international main hub airport.
It's we fly into, I can't remember the airport off the top of my head.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to the race. So, like I said, it was 412 entries. They had, obviously, they had 2-wheel drive 13. They had 4-wheel drive 13.5.
Yeah.
They had independent. Independent runs the same turn, right? 13.5.
Yeah,
or they run a slow turn.
They do 21.5.
Okay, so the independent does 21.5, which is like, I would say, like, I don't want to say sportsman. Yeah, like sportsman class.
Yeah, it's more meant for the sportsman like level guys who are just trying to have fun instead of like getting all into the stock stuff. Right.
It had 40 plus. It had truck, no short course.
No,
but
there was a short course class.
Was there?
Yeah,
I missed that.
I remember like marshalling because I was making fun of Tom because we were like marshalling and this one truck just kept jumping into his marshal spot.
Really? So I missed that. All right. So I think we're gonna get talking about mod first because that's like the big. Or should we talk about stock first? Because I don't know. I think we should talk about mod first. We'll give mod more energy. So, like I said, this race had all the top names besides Cavallari, Mayfield.
And Mayfield.
Yeah, I think, okay, maybe a Brock Champlin isn't there as well. I forgot about him. But Tessman made the trip. Tessman must be staying for this week and then going to SIC.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. He's doing 2 in 1 go. So this was a big race. This wasn't no joke.
Yeah.
And it really caught my attention because I remember somebody said something about it and I was like, well, who's going? And then I saw the list of people going, okay, I better pay attention because I just wasn't paying attention after Christmas and whatnot. Man, in 2-wheel drive mod, let's just be honest, like Fenn just dominated the entire weekend.
He's arguably the guy. Like
he's the best all-around off-road driver in the world right now, in my opinion.
Like a couple of years ago, like it was Mayfield, like for sure, but Dakota's definitely figured something out in the past year or two. Just, he's kind of the guy.
I mean, he dominated. He TQ'd all rounds of two-wheel drive. It looks like.
Yep.
He was TQ in truck. He was TQ in four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive was his one kryptonite. You almost beat him. You almost got him in Q2 in four-wheel drive until you had something break. He was doing good too.
Yeah. I had a dog go and pop out of the out drive. So
I was like, oh wow, Bornacrom's he's gonna TQ. He's gonna TQ Q2.
And then 30 seconds.
Oh, as soon as they said that, like it was like, oh, something's wrong with his car. I was like, no. Yeah. But that was four-wheel drive. So let's continue two-wheel drive. I mean, it wasn't even. I mean, Rivkin, like he came second overall, but I mean, I just didn't even see him get up there and chat. Like Fenn just led from start to finish.
Dakota he's got something figured out, and that's
how are you guys going to beat this guy?
I
don't know. In case you're listening to audio, he just shrugged his shoulders and says, I don't know. I don't know.
He's doing something that, we all can't figure out, and he drives on the brink and doesn't crash. So, he
can make up for the crashes when he does make them though.
Yeah, no, the round I almost like TQ'd, I went and looked back. He caught up. Like he was right back there, and I don't know many people who would have been able to. I think he had two really bad crashes and caught all the way back up to third.
Well, he went 2 and 2. So he went A1, A2, won this.
Yeah.
In two-wheel drive. He did that in all three mains, all three classes, by the way. Let's go to my talking points here. So, like I said, Rivkin fast, just not on his pace. Not on his pace. And at one point, these two were battling it out, rivals. But it seems like Rivkin, okay, he won overall at they can get it, but it takes Fenn making a mistake, it seems like, and then a big mistake, and that's when they get him.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's just a matter of him not crashing, but he hasn't been doing that very often, so
Evans was fast.
Yep, Evans was
qualifying.
Fast. Then Nnrc
Yep. Hasn't raced in a while. Tom Nnrc, Tom R. He was good. X-ray. He was good in two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. Surprising for me was Horn off pace. I was expecting more from him after such a good performance.
Just watching his stuff, he drove good. It's just a matter of everyone's fast. So
this competition's so stacked.
Yeah.
So stacked. Who's Chase Lemieux? Is this Paul Lemieux?
That is Paul Lemieux's son.
Okay. How old is he?
He is 15 or 16, I think. And he's the real deal.
Really? So he's legit.
Yeah.
Legit. Tater was good this weekend. Yeah. He got the bump up from the B main into this.
His stuff was fast and good all weekend long.
Wow. So back to Horn. Is it Proline that is the issue, or what's going on?
I don't know, because they had a good amount of people like running like their stuff. Like Schimmel seemed like he had a good amount of grip like the whole time, but it's all a tire game. Like honestly, if you don't have the tire game like figured out, then it's not going to be very fun. It's just a matter of going down that road of trying different sauce, trying different braking methods. You can cut the foams like differently. It's just a matter of figuring all that stuff out.
Wow, that's just too much, entirely too much work for me. But I get it. You have to get that edge. Tallard in the B, he probably would be a little bit not happy with that. But with the car
for the first week on his cars, like I think that was the first time he actually ran them, so it wasn't too bad.
All right, you was not in the A. You was way down in the B, but you did finish. Where did you end up finishing overall in two-wheel drive? Do you remember?
Two-wheel drive? In the B main, I have no clue.
Okay. You just stopped current after you was in the B main. They did have one bump, which I did like. Yeah. I think they should have done two.
I didn't really feel connected to my tool like all weekend long, so I was just like, well, whatever happens, happens.
Okay. Schimmel in the B as well there with you, making the move up from stock. I've now learned not to expect him or you guys to automatically make these A mains. It's going to take some time, but it wasn't too far off.
No.
He had some good runs. Just made some mistakes, and at this level, you can't make those mistakes.
No, you have to be on it the whole time.
Yes. And other notables that I have on her is Lee Setzer in 6th. Lee got really good in. He's gaining in both classes. Doing 10 scale, doing 8 scale, and is making great gains. I thought that 6 was a great result for him in 2-wheel drive. And I think he should be happy with that and looking to get that top 5.
Yeah.
Not so great for me is Ty in 7th. I'm expecting Ty to be on the podium. Not winning, but on the podium. Yeah. And I will have to say that, and I love Aiden, is my boy. But 10th for Aiden, Raging Aiden Horn, he would be raging after that because I expect him to be, he's had some great results last year. So I expect him to be higher than that.
Yeah. Ty, it looked like he was up there for most of the weekend in 2-wheel, super competitive. I just think with how close everything was, if you made that one crucial bobble, you were done.
Now, Hot Race, do they have 10 scale tires?
No, so I think he just runs like J Concept stuff.
Okay, so it's eligible to run whatever he wants. Okay, good stuff. Any other notables, any other notes that you want to add to or mentions from 2-wheel drive to this?
There's not really much that really went on other than Dakota just kind of doing his thing.
Yeah, and dude, we're gonna talk about the Worlds after this. Yeah. Like, I don't know how you guys gonna stop him. 4-wheel drive wasn't as clean cut. I mean, okay, Fenn still won it in 2 mains, but he did not TQ it in 2 runs. Like I said, you almost got it in the second qualifier, but had that break.
Yeah,
but his protege Tater took it, and this is a kid that people are sleeping on. This guy has improved.
No, he's a wheel.
In 8 scale and 10 scale so much.
He's a wheel for sure.
You know, I know that he had his past when he was a kid and he was rude and all that stuff, but he's not like that no more.
No, it's just it's when you're young, and I see it with the Raymond twins too. You're so passionate. And trying to handle those emotions when you're so young is really hard to just kind of balance out.
Yeah, but he was rude. He was just he was very rude. I've heard the stories, but he's calmed down. He's racing a lot. And I think we have to realistically put him in as one of these very top young prospects in both 10 scale and 8 scale.
Yeah.
He is in that top 5, I would say. Yeah, if not knocking on the door, the top 3, probably more on the top 3.
Yeah.
But on foot, dude, you was flying in Q2. Dude, what did you find? Like,
I don't know. I went out there and I was like, my car feels really good. I was behind Dakota in warm up, and then I passed him and was like, okay, I think he let me by. But then I started gapping him, and I was like, okay, maybe he's just going slow. And then all of a sudden I hear I'm out front, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to keep going. And then I come down the hill, I hit the throttle, and I guess the dog bone snapped the out drive. And
Oh, man. Tom Renner-Connect. I know I'm saying his name wrong. I'm going to get him on home. Tom from R1. Very consistent.
Yes.
He got 3 seconds in qualifying, which rewarded, I think he came 2nd overall.
Yeah.
Looking very good. Tom and Ty looked very good. The X-rays look good.
Yeah.
Ty finished 3rd. Did the X-ray guys find something that everybody else didn't, or did it just come to them too late?
When grip comes up, those cars become a lot easier to maintain and just try to find the setup window. I know they figured something out in 4 for sure, but it seems like they've got more of a consistent reign on what's going on over there.
Okay. Schimmel squeaked in, so I think getting in the 4-wheel drive, man, is good for him. I think he finished last, but I'm glad that he got in. Lee Setzer got the bump, so he probably didn't want to be in a B main, but he got the bump.
Yep,
and that was good for him. I think he finished 9th, so it wasn't a great finish. And like I said, I have her Tater as 4th. It came 4th overall in 4-wheel drive. I think that's a great result for Tater. He beat a lot of fast guys out there.
Yeah.
So,
then Davey Bottom made both mains.
We have to legitimately consider Tater a threat. And then, I mean, he's still in 16.
Yeah, no, he's a wheel, for sure. He's definitely got it figured out.
Wow. nothing to write home finishes. Rivkin in 5th. I expect Rivkin to be winning these races, but at least in 5th, he wouldn't be happy with that, I'm sure. Horn, once again, outside the top 5 and 7th. I'm sorry, Raging Aiden, not your weekend. You, after looking so fast, finishing 8th. Yeah. What happened in your mains, dude?
I had a really bad A2 and A1 and A3. Like, we're good. So,
oh man, I was hoping you would do something, but solid. You showed a lot of hope and pace in 4-wheel drive, so not all is lost.
Yeah,
I'm sure your mentor JQ would demand more of you, but I would expect 8th better from you, but it's all right.
Yeah,
it's okay. Right. It's okay. Stadium truck, I didn't really go into deep in this. I just have Fenn, Riv, and Ty winning this. Sorry, Fendon first, Riven second, Rivkin second, Ty third, and I think Evans was 4th.
Yeah.
So that was good for him. Stock 17.5 2-wheel drive buggy. Here's your guys. Levi, the one half of the dyad. What's their last name? Levi. I forgot their name already. Raymond. So let's talk about these young racers. 12 years old from San Diego. They're twins. Mm-hmm. How long have they been racing for?
I think 6 or 7 years.
Okay. Is this their first time like coming out of the SoCal area?
So they've been to hobby action and they went to the Maryland like nationals, but this was the first time that they've stepped out of California for a Big Ten skill race.
Okay. And I mean, he TQ'd it. 2-wheel drive. His brother was in the B, not too far off. This is a great outing for these guys.
Yeah, no, like for them coming outside of San Diego and not having as much experience as these guys do, for them to make 2 mains each. His brother like 1 truck again, and they definitely.
Oh, his brother 1 truck. Yeah, there we go. So Shorty was messaging me, sending me screenshots of lap times and stuff like that. Just don't forget about the twins. And I was like, I won't. Yeah. So these kids are legit then. So what's next for them?
We're trying to go to the next round. So they'll be in San Diego for the opening round of the INS series.
Okay.
So that's the next race I think everyone's going to.
When is that?
It's the 1st or 2nd week of February.
Oh, okay. So it's not too far away. Not too far away at all. Sammy Moran, he is the ginger from, I call him a ginger because he looks like he has red hair, but he's from Pacific Northwest, right?
No, he's from the Victorville area. He races at Davies track.
Okay. Why do I keep thinking that he is from Pacific Northwest?
A lot of people thought he had an on-road background, and I don't know, for all the years I've known him, he's ran on-road a couple of times, but his background's all Intensio off-road.
Who is he older than you guys?
He's the same age as I am.
Really?
Yeah.
He's actually pretty good. I've seen his name.
He's a wheel, like for sure.
I've seen his name. He runs Hitec too, so I've seen him with Hitec stuff, and that's kind of what caught my eye with him. But he won this overall.
Yeah, no, he won 2-wheel and 4-wheel. 4-wheel, he had to qualify from the E heat or something like that. He broke in seating.
I did see that. Yeah. I did see that when he broke in seating.
But even when he was thrown into the A heat, he still went out and smoked everybody. So
yeah, I was shocked that he wasn't at Masters of Dirt or the Florida. Does he race carpet?
Yeah, he races a good amount of carpet. He usually goes to the races that Matt seems to cover.
Okay, all right. Well, that makes because he's with Mod. So, but excellent performance. I mean, it took him. He didn't win it into Dakota.
Yeah.
Then we have this guy Ian Crawford, who happens to have really good hair, by the way. I have I have in my notes. Who the fuck is he? Because I have no idea who he is. Besides, he has luxurious hair.
The real deal. I worked with Ian when he ran for Phantom. We're still super close buddies. He's a good wheel. He finally got some glasses, and that seems to have been the issue at hand. Mm-hmm. He hasn't been able to really put in a 5-minute run until he got some glasses, honestly. And he's been he TQ'd and got second at the Top Gun shootout at our home track a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And he came out here and almost won.
Well, he got A2.
Yeah.
Oh,
He almost got A3 as well. Like they had this crazy last lap pass where like Sammy crashed and then Ian like jumped on top of him. And then, it was A2 or something like that. Or it was A3, I think.
Yeah, it would be because he came third.
Yeah.
And then we have Doug Laverriere, Canada's best.
Yep.
Solid weekend for him. I mean, he had a lot of good runs. He's been hitting this stock class extremely hard.
Yeah.
So, Canada's favorite stock racer.
Yes, he is definitely. I always tell him he looks like the Canadian people, like from South Park.
It looks like who?
He looks like the Canadian people, like from South Park.
Oh, right.
But yeah.
Oh my gosh. People say I sound like Cartman. But I think he goes home with, not a win, but I think he goes with a solid weekend. He did get second in two-wheel drive buggy, and I think he got second in four-wheel drive buggy.
He got third or something, but he did win the Clash. He kind of walked away like from Sammy during the Clash race.
Right. Yeah, I didn't watch them. We're going to talk about them. Very surprised to see Mason Templeton and Jeff Stacks in the B. They were really good at Masters of Dirt.
Yeah. I
was expecting them to be up there. Kyle Go 6th overall in qualifying. I was expecting him to be am I looking at the right thing? Yeah, 6th overall in qualifying. I was expecting him to be more top 5. I think he ended up finishing 11th overall. Probably not the weekend that he wanted.
No, but it's just the first weekend out too. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing too serious on there. I mean, he has time to get better. Yeah. But Mason Templeman, Jeff Stacks were probably my biggest surprise is not making this main. But Sammy Moran takes it. Ian Crawford with the great hair, and then Doug takes second, and then Ian Crawford third. In total, and then your guy Levi, he finished 4th overall.
Yeah.
So good run for him, I would say. He got a third, and an 8th.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I know who Nate Sutherland is. Zach is from Colorado.
He's from Colorado, but I think he moved into that like Indiana area.
Okay, good stuff. I'm not familiar with a lot of these other guys like Colin Miles, Lucas Smith. Not too familiar. I've probably seen them, but don't know who they are.
Those are mostly like locals, I think.
Okay. So I have not seen them. All right. I didn't get to my 4-wheel drive notes because I got busy, but 4-wheel drive, let's bring that up and look at some stuff here. Get into qualifying. So 4-wheel drive that's independent. So Sammy Moran TQs, Doug Laverriere, Zach Gastelum, Nate Sutherland, another solid run from him. Mason Templeman's in there.
Yeah.
Trevor Michalesco, I have no idea who he is.
Yeah, so he's a local kid like from trackside.
Ah, okay. Colin Miles, Ian Crawford with the great hair, Jeff Stacks in there, and Talon Henley. That must be Ed's son. And then the Dyads just out. They're in 12th and 13th respectively. Yep. So let's go to race results and see who won. We'll see who won everything.
Yeah.
And who went home.
Sammy walked away with the 4.
Oh, did he? He won it in 2. So Doug Laverriere, a 3 and a 2 and a 2. Mason Templeman would be happy with that. A 4th. He won the last one, so good race.
Yeah.
Great finish for Zach and for Trevor. Nate just knocking on the top 5. Jeff Stacks, it's all right. And then Chase Randeman, he bumped up. So, but he finished 12. And then of course Ian Crawford with the luxurious hair in 10th. Any notables from this race that you can tell us about?
There's nothing really like going on. Like Sammy just kind of like walked away. Like second and third, like Zach and Doug had a really good battle. The last lap of 8-3, I think it was. Zach went a little wide, and Doug just held full throttle. And like the line was set to a point, if you came in a little tighter, you would hit it faster. And I think Doug was able to kind of push in like harder and take the win of that main.
Okay. And then in truck, 13.5 truck, obviously we had the other dyad, half of the dyad, Chase Raymond. winning. Mason Templeman, who was very good in truck at Mod, he came second. Doug, right there, look, just a third. Solid weekend for Doug.
Yeah,
top threes in all classes.
With a podium in each class, I think Doug did probably the best out of all the kids.
Yeah. And then Sammy Moran, he finished 8th. Zach Castleman 4th. And Nate Sutherland in 5th. And then Levi also made this main as well.
Yeah.
So good stuff to them. The Clash race. So explain to people how the Clash works, because this was a payout race. I'm not sure how it worked. Or maybe you can explain it to us.
It was your best finish in all three in all three classes from 2 mains, I think. Mm-hmm. So you had to run 2-wheel truck and 4-wheel to qualify for it. Your best finishes would put you into the Clash main just for 2-wheel like buggy. So if you didn't run,
and it was only 8 people.
Yeah.
Okay. But they won some money. So Fenn won this, by the way. But
yeah. So Fenn won again a good amount. He probably made a good amount of money this weekend, I would guess.
About $1,000, I would say.
Yeah. So it was $1,000 for the win in that Clash race.
And also the Clash race was 8 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's just a normal race, just 8 minutes long. There's nothing different about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Spencer Rifkin second. Aiden Horn, that's feeling better. Sure be happy about that. And then Lee 4th. Very well. Good job, Lee. And Dustin Evans 5th. And Cole Tollard 6th.
There's
Not a bad.
Definitely, with money on the line, the stock guys drove pretty clean. But watching some of that mod race, there was a little bit of rubbing and racing out.
We're guys hacking each other.
Yeah.
Come on, tell us names. Who was getting into it?
It just was a select few of people that, if you were in the lower back of the race, it looked like you were getting punted.
Damn mod drivers. So what was the payout for stock? Was it just as much as the?
So it was a grand.
Clash paid out, right?
Yeah. So Doug won a grand, and then Dakota won a grand just from that win. And probably more.
That's not bad. That's not a bad payday for Doug. Sammy in second, Zach in third, Mason 4th, and Colin Miles 5th.
Yeah.
So that ends our weekend. That was, what time did you get out of there on Sunday?
We were out of there at like 8:00, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Saturday was the long night. I think you went till about 9:30, 10. Great first weekend of racing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I geeked out and I watched it. I did. I really enjoyed it, man. Yeah. I thought it was a great race. I only think that it's going to get bigger from now on. It's going to attract more top names. Maybe we might see some Europeans come over.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it definitely seems like there's been more Europeans, especially with COVID being over. Mm-hmm. Not over, but, dying down a bit.
Well, this is going to lead me into, we got a few more things to do before we wrap this up. I want to do a little Worlds chat with you because that's coming up. Or when is the Worlds actually?
It is in September, the first and second week.
So it's later this year.
Yeah.
It's at Hobby Action. We know that a lot of Europeans are coming over. Dirt is something that maybe they're not all used to running on, especially Hobby Action type of dirt. Are we going to see just a lot? I think we're going to see a lot of Europeans come over to race at Hobby Action.
Yeah, there's a lot. Now and then. I think there's going to be a lot of them at Desert Classic.
When is it?
March, the second week of March.
Okay, so in your opinion, right now, who's the favorite going into this race?
American, Dakota for sure.
Really, in both classes. And what about European?
Arolowski.
Really? So you wouldn't put like Ronafalk or Ungaro up on this type of surface?
I've seen Ungaro since we got the Worlds, and I'm sure they'll all figure it out. But from what I've seen, I think the Schumacher camp has a good thing going on, especially with them picking up Cavalieri and Brock. They'll have people to go to Hobby Action and test a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that, and then Dakota's just been the guy, so that's got to be my pick.
And I think Ronafalk wants to run TLR cars there.
He does, yeah.
So that will probably be an advantage for him. And this is like his style. I mean, he did do well at did Ronafalk run a Reedy? He's raced Reedy.
He's done really good at a couple like greedy races.
Yeah. Okay. It's gonna be interesting, man. I'm really excited for this Worlds. How about yourself? What's your personal goals for this Worlds coming up?
Not be in like the E main. I think C or D would be okay.
I don't see, because it's on dirt, I don't see that many Europeans being a threat.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Somebody like Neil Craig could be there who's used to running on dirt, or one of these other European guys. When I think of this race, I think of Ronafal, possibly Ungaro, and Coelho. That can be thorns, and obviously Orlowski as well. But we shall see. It'll be interesting to see. What's next for you then, INS?
Yeah. So, I'm supposed to go to Coyote like this weekend. If I'm feeling better, I'll make the trek up there tomorrow or Friday, and then after that, it's INS.
How far away from Coyote are you?
2.5 hours.
Okay. Cool. All right, man. I think we had a good time here. We do have some questions for you. We did have some people ask some questions. Let me guys know if you like having Matty G on here. He'll get a little. I think it was good. For your first time. We look forward to having you on her again. But we do have a few questions for you. And we want this to happen because we want people that are on 10 scale to ask some questions. And this comes from MBS guy. He wants to know gear diff or ball diff, and should you buy the carpet or dirt B64 for this track? Being away, I think that's just talking about the Hoosier Hobbyplex track, because he says, I've been away from the sport for a bit, watched all weekend on Mod Live Media, would love some setup talk. So yeah, he's asking about this track. He must live close by.
Yeah. All of us run the B6.4D. With the ball diff, you can get away with a gear diff in stock. It's just really finicky, and you have to have a certain like driving style. The ball diff would be a lot easier to drive off the bat.
Okay. You guys, is it not enough grip to run the ball diff?
No,
to run a gear diff.
The gear diff, it just loses itself coming out.
Okay. So where are you guys using the gear diffs? On the carpet tracks then?
Yeah, on carpet, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Missed that question. Joe Zaire Jr. What's up, Savage Joe? What does he think of the pin swag front? What are the biggest differences he notices between the swag and the fuzz bites?
The pin swag front, I ran it a little bit in Florida. I thought it made my car really easy to drive. It just didn't steer as much as I wanted it to. The fuzz bites, I think, are the best front tire out that J Concepts has. They have the most amount of steering, and coming in and out of corners, they feel the same. The swaggers, they're really easy to drive. They just don't have as much steering as the fuzz bite or the pin swag.
Okay. Benjamin James asks, who were your RC influences? As in, did you have any racers you learned from or wanted to emulate as you were starting as a racer?
As a kid, there was a local fast guy who helped me out a lot. Tyler Hicks. He doesn't race anymore, but he was one of the fastest guys at SDRC. My buddy Jim Hughes, who was super close with Kinwald, he would pay Brian to come out and help us out. So Brian, I would say, was a big influence on my on my racing. I have drips in my paint scheme because of it. Tyler Hicks. And we used to have a learn to drive clinic, Terrence Webster, helped me out. I figure out just kind of how to go around the track.
Sweet. That's not a bad person to look up to. Alex Strotholopoulos. I butchered your name. I'm very sorry. Current state of 13.5, 17.5 motors. How much does tuning help over box stock? 5% or 20%, for example? Anything else to keep an eye on?
It definitely helps with the consistency of it. Most people will not notice it unless, you're going for that top tier, trying to win each event. On a club racing scale, the normal stuff is really good. But if you're trying to push that extra mile, getting your stuff looked at or tuned is definitely going to be an advantage over some people.
Okay. Devin Bear, how does Fenn get beat? I remember we talked about this. How long will his reign last, and who takes his spot if possible? Is it Aiden Horn? I mean, Fenn's still young. He's only like 25.
Yeah, he's like only 6 or 5 years older than I am, so
he's just been doing this for so long.
Yeah, I think and another thing too is the comfortability factor. Is he's ran the same cars, different electronics like once in a while, but and tires as well. But he's ran the same car since it pretty much came out, so he's been a part of the development to some extent, I'm sure, and it probably suits his driving style very well.
You guys just got to beat him. It's you know what? I think it's gonna be hard to beat him in 8 scale this year too.
Yeah,
he can be beat. It can be beat. 8 scale is a little different.
Yeah,
but man, 10 scale. I've seen Fenn just do some things with cars, and I just been like, what? You know, I've seen that from lots of drivers, but he is very amazing. He's an amazing driver. Do you hear that, Barry Baker? Don't get mad at me and message me and be like, you talk bad about Fenn. I always talk good about Fenn, but he did fend a lot. He isn't fending anymore. It's not a good thing. And from your biggest fan, Sorty Racer, he wants to know, how do you survive on a diet of only nacho chips, mac and cheese, and sombrero carne fries and chips?
I actually had some like last night. I do not only eat chips and mac and cheese. I have other food. Dave's Hot Chicken. It's very good. I make chicken fried rice like once in a while. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, man, I want to thank you for your time. So what are you up to this weekend again? What are you doing this weekend? Because you're like doing RC every weekend, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do. Yeah.
Then the following weekend after that, it's just
chilling, I think. Just like go and practice a couple times and make sure everything feels good, and I go from there.
All right. Besides the INS race, are we going to see you traveling anymore? I mean, it's at your local track, but to any of these other bigger races around America?
I should be at all the big 10 skill events like this year.
Really? Okay. That's good. That's good. I look forward to watching that. And I look forward because that's going to be good because then you can come on here and talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's even better. I want to thank you for your time, man. I know this is your first time doing this. I think you did a great job. I think people are going to like your input. We're going to have to come up with a special segment for your questions. We're going to think of a funny name for it and get you there. The more people start seeing that you're coming on here, they'll ask more 10 scale questions. Yeah. Everybody that I've spoken to you speaks very highly of you as well, too. So that's always a good thing. Your reputation precedes you. And I think you're cutting out a great niche in RC for you, for yourself. And I want to see that prosper. So
I appreciate it, yeah.
BOC, you have fun at Coyote Hobbies.
Thank you.
Good luck at INS. We'll probably have you on. That's the first week of February.
Yeah. So probably right after.
Yeah, we'll get you on to talk about that. It should be some decent coverage. I think all the big names will be there. I'm hoping Cav's going to be there.
Yeah. So he told me he should be there for.
And Mayfield.
Yep.
It'd be good to see. And good luck to you.
Thank you.
And
having me on.
Yeah, if you guys go hit this guy's Instagram up. You still doing work like motors and stuff like that?
You'll see.
Okay. All right. I like all of that. Hey, BOC, you got anything to say to your mentor who has disowned you now?
I haven't seen him in a year. Hopefully his visa lasts longer than it did last time. He was trying to scam me into buying his Reedy Race tires last time you're in like 10 scale because he ran out of money.
Sounds like about right, like a JQ.
Yeah, and I didn't have any money to give him, so I bought him a Sour Patch Kid. I thought that would, help out.
He's a gypsy for sure. He's in he's a better state now, that's for sure. He's coming for DNC. He isn't coming as long. He's only coming for the weekend before and doing that race. It should be good. I'll see you at DNC. But anyway, have fun at Coyote. And if you guys have any more questions for BOC, we're going to probably have his segment ready for him. He's going to take all your 10 scale questions. This is also our effort to put I'm geeking out on 10 scale. It's something that people have been telling me to branch out into for a long time. Now that I've been to 2 races and I'm learning about it, I'm loving this shit. So we're going to be talking about
it's badass for sure.
Oh, I know, but I think I like carpet the most. Just saying, I'm saying I like carpet. Thank you, man. You have a good one, and I'll talk to you after INS. Thank you for your time.
Yep.
Oh, no, did you want to say thank you to anybody before we leave?
Thank you to all my sponsors, One Up Racing, Team Associated, Team Trinity, J Concepts, everyone at home in Mexico that allows me to do this still.
That's right.
Definitely has not been an easy road. I run a mod for the past year, but I'm trying. If anyone has any questions on motor stuff, my Instagram is glitch_RC or Matthew Gonzales on Facebook. I'm always open to answering. I might take a little while, but I am always here to lend a helping hand if it comes to anything. And
also new 10-scale co-host of the Nnrc. Let's pretend I'm waving a Mexican flag. I'll have one. And 3 cheers for Mexico. Hey, thank you for your time. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you to our good friend, Matty G, a.k.a. Born a Crime, a.k.a. Glitch RC, for his time. He will be joining us more on the podcast as we cover more 10-scale stuff. And we'll be doing a lot more stuff with 10-scale people anyway. Really geeking out on that. So thank you for his time. We're going to go into our conclusion here with JQ. But we're going to go take a quick look at the SIC race that's coming up this weekend, the Southern Indoor Classic first. I know JQ says DNC is the first big race, but this is like the first big USA race where a lot of the a lot of the USA drivers attend. It takes place in Alabama. It's an indoor race. And yeah, people are driving, as we're recording this, people are driving to it now. We got pretty much all the top names going. I did make a post about this. I threw a bunch of drivers, pictures up. I know some people are going to get upset because they ain't on there, but hey, it is what it is. But it looks like the top guys that ain't going, Cav's not going to be there. Which is unfortunate. I wanted him to be there, but maybe not feeling ready to go with the WRC. Tessman was at the Clash of Champions. I thought he was going to stay, but he's going back to Canada. Tyler Jones not going with the new Agama, and Aiden Horn is not going. It looks like Seth Van Dalen isn't going either. But we got all the other top guys. We got Tebow going in the new Mayaka ride. Mayfield obviously going with the new Techno rides. We got Dakota Fenn looking to pick up where he finished off. Cole Ogden on the new TZO tires. Lutz is going to be there. Rivkin, the Fullers, Joe Bornhorst, Brandon Rose, Spencer Heckert, Cam DeFoe, S-Works Click. I don't think Tanner Denny's going. Techno's also going to have Wiggins there. Going to be interesting to see how Wiggins does on the J Concepts tires. I think that's going to help him out a lot. HB obviously will have of the Fullers, I guess. I think Little Bump is going to make the main here as well. He's been doing really good. But yeah, it's stacked, but not as stacked. Kind of disappointed not to have Tessman Cavallari there. And honestly, I really wanted to see Jones, what he'll do on the Agama. So yeah, man, I don't know how to pick this race, JQ. I kind of feel like Dakota Fenn's just not gonna start off where he finished 2022, winning.
So I mean, Fenn and Mayfield, right? Didn't they do most of the winning?
They did all the winning last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won everything between those two.
Okay. Yeah, so Fenn and Mayfield. Rivkin, did Rivkin have some good race somewhere?
He may have had some good races, but he did not win.
But he's there, you said?
Yeah, he's there. Not in my...
Going.
Not.
No,
yeah.
But he's going. So.
Yeah, he's going.
Yeah, so what are we doing? Picking?
It's indoor race. It's a J Concepts race. Not a J Concepts race, but you know, on the East Coast, these J Concepts tires, they do really well. This track will be really cold too. It gets cold and dusty, and it gets rough.
I wonder how hot race are in those conditions. Okay, what was the SIC result last year?
Let's bring that up. SIC last year. SIC 2022 Live RC. So Ryan Mayfield won this. It's followed by Spencer Rivkin. Tebow third. So this is a track that he does good at.
I remember Spencer was good.
Right. So you was right. Ty Tessman fourth. So he did attend this race last year. Cole Ogden fifth. Ryan Pavita sixth. Bornhorst seventh. Seth Van Dalen eighth. Mason Fuller ninth. Tyler Jones 10th. Wiggins 11th. Lutz 12th. And then it goes Aiden Horn, Bronson, Rose, Hooks.
Okay.
So
Okay, I'll give you my picks. We are going to get the showdown that we're all waiting for, okay? So Tebow's going to win from Mayfield. That's the battle we want to see. So Tebow wins, Mayfield second, 1-0, Mayako, Techno. That's what's going to happen. And third place, I would say that Fend will be in there, but he can't hang with the boys, and he fends himself. And Rivkin gets third.
Whoa. That's is a doable top 3 right there.
Yeah.
And exactly how you said it can happen. Very good analysis.
Is Lutz there?
Yes, he is. He should be there.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Lutz will be good also. I'll just throw him in like a dark horse thing, but he will Lutz and not finish the main.
You know what? Man, I don't want to jinx anybody. I know Tebow's going to be mad at me, but I'm going to Fend, Tebow, Mayfield, hoping that Tebow wins.
Okay. But you still have Tebow ahead of Mayfield?
I do, because I know that he wants to do that. I know he wants to beat Mayfield badly. So I hope he does. And I think Fen's just too comfortable with his setup, with his stuff. He's the only one that didn't make any changes. He's gonna be on the right rubber for this track. And he didn't go last year, so we'll see. It's a small track, so I don't know what the layout. I haven't seen the layout, so it's gonna be interesting. I know this race is kind of hard. A lot of people end up getting sick after this race because of the nitro fumes and the dust.
Small place?
Yeah, it's small.
Oh, so, I don't think I've ever seen a video from this place.
Have you? You might have went to this race. Didn't you go?
No, I've never gone to this race.
Didn't you go to a race in Alabama?
Yeah, AMS.
Oh, okay. So similar size as AMS, I would say.
Oh, I wouldn't say that's small.
Yeah, it's not small, but it's not big like PMB or Wicked Weekend. And I was told that we're gonna have coverage, like full coverage, proper coverage. Maybe not like Scotty doing analysis and stuff, but Danny's
moving cameras and stuff.
Yeah, we'll have moving cameras, stuff like. Danny's going up there to work with Jacob on the stream. He's going up there with Lance today. They should be on their way up there today. So Danny's doing some good work, man.
Okay, good.
Doing some damn good work. So we're gonna be able to watch this race. I'm gonna be watching it. What do you guys think? Who do you guys think who's your top 3 in Pro Nitro Buggy? I know people's gonna be like, what about Truggy? What about E-Buggy? Look, Nitro's the glory.
No one gives a shit about those other classes.
Yeah, look, the showdown is in Pro Nitro Buggy. Let's be honest. Let's be fucking honest. All right, so you said, we're clear. We're going to come back and revisit this next week. Tebow, I hope you win, and I hope you shove it down my throat next week when you come on her and be like, I told you I was going to win, Lefty. I want you to win, but I just feel that Fen's the most comfortable with his complete package right now. That's what I think. Yeah. All right, JQ. You know what? I'm going to let you go. You ain't got no motocross, no supercross for you this weekend. Oakland got rained out. All right.
No.
What was your thoughts on the opening of A1? Did you enjoy it?
Yes. So
I really thought Mookie was going to do it.
I felt bad for Mookie because that point he was going to pass for second probably. Mm-hmm. So I think he would have finished second or third. Yeah. Maybe third. Let's say third. Which would have been a great start. And then, I don't know what happened. Hit neutral over the bars.
Yeah, glad he didn't hurt himself. But, dude, did you see that one guy in the start? I think it was in the...
Faulkner, yeah.
Jesus, man. Yeah. I don't know how some of these guys get up from these hits, man.
He didn't get up. His season is done. But I would say that Tomac was... pretty impressive, like falling over, still winning. That's do you think Jay Smoker bought on the Tomac jersey and showed it off to nobody? I guarantee Jay Smoker was all about the Tomac jersey.
I guarantee you. He's all about 8 scale right now. He's all excited for DNC. JQ will be at DNC. We'll be at DNC in 5 weeks. I can't wait.
I wish I had another 6 months of not going anywhere. That would be quite good.
I mean, I was burnt out too. I'm burnt out too, but I'm looking forward. By the time DNC comes around, I'll be ready to go.
Yeah, not me,
so,
but I have to go, I think.
You have to go?
I am pretty sure I have to go.
I'm pretty sure you have to go. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you want to go. You just don't know it yet.
I honestly do not want to go, but I have to go.
You want to? You say that now, but you will go.
No,
and you're gonna like it. But you're not going for a long time. You're going like the weekend before, correct?
Yeah, just minimal time this time.
Yeah. I'm coming in on a Tuesday and out on a Monday. So quick in, quick out. All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time. You have a good weekend. I look forward to talking to you, Teebs, the Viking, and Bob next week. That's going to be interesting. Thank you, everybody, for the questions. Thank you, Matty G, for coming on. It was fun talking to you. Thank you to the awesome advertisers and the sponsors of this podcast. If you're a company and you're looking to advertise on this podcast, hit us up, man. We got tiers for everything. We're doing race promotion as well. If you want to promote your race, hit us up. It's very good to do that near the end of the race is coming up a few weeks from the race. We have rates for that as well. I want to say thank you to InvisibleSpeed, Hitec RC USA, Sampadal USA, TNR Fuels, Beach RC, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, Clinic RC, Ardent Imprints for all your imprint printing needs. WRCE, shout out to Danny Paz and all the good work he's doing. RC Haas for all your Nnrc swag over in Europe and the UK. House of RC, getting ready to launch. RCGP, Runafuck Race Shop, JTP RC, 36 Mood, Alexander Hagberg, and thank you to offroadracer.com for showing me these nice threads. I got some hats and stuff. Really cool, really comfortable. Check them out as well. I'll leave the link for that in the written description. And links for all these companies are in the written description of this podcast, as well as our look. You can join our Patreon. I'm being very active in the Patreon. Lots of posts in there. If you want to help us out, want to help the podcast out, join the Patreon. Helps us out. We also have the YouTube membership going on, which is a little cheaper. If you like that too, you just want to have something steady, you like what we're doing, you want to support us, join our YouTube membership. And thank you to everybody that supports us. Thank you to the Nnrc squad around the world. JQ, it was good talking to you, man.
Okay, it was good talking.
Yeah, you sound so excited.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. You know what? I'm going to go have a beer myself now while I edit this up. You know what, JQ? I will talk to you later. Lefty, JQ, we're out. We're done. See you guys later. See you next week.